by anger and fear. I'd like to go out, instead I just pout, 'cause I can't let anyone near. It's hard to know what is real. Now's the time I'd like to forget. I can't see friends, just emails and calls. I can't even shop to buy a new pet. Life is so crazy this year. I'm surrounded by anger and fear. I'd like to go out, instead I just pout, 'cause I can't let anyone dare. One day I tried to go out. I was a rebel without a mask. But soon cops were around and I heard beeping sounds. I wanted to hightail it out of there fast. Life is so crazy this year. I'm surrounded by anger and fear. I'd like to go out, instead I just pout, 'cause I can't let anyone near. Mostly each day is the same. News shows filled with darkness and doom. Feels like I'm in a cage. These are such crazy days, with music and movies to fill up the gloom. Life is so crazy this year. I'm surrounded by anger and fear. I'd like to go out, instead I just pout, 'cause I can't let anyone near. Life is so crazy this year. I'm surrounded by anger and fear. I'd like to go out, instead I just pout, 'cause
There's nobody out there. We're in Never Never Land.
Hey, there could be someone out there.
Yeah, well, nobody. All right, we are live. We are live in the pre-stream version of the show. This is the pre-stream bits and pieces as it moves along, and see where we get and what we have as we do all the tickety-boo stuff to make sure everything's working for showtime.
I half expect my kids to come tramping through here, making loud noises.
Wow. Bingo, boom, boom, chagalaka, boom, 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 chagalaka, boom, boom.
Okay, that's working. Let's see where we got. We got lots of really interesting, fun stuff this week. I got a new segment. It's the 2030 countdown. Stuff that I'm starting to collect for 2030 because I forgot how big a deal 2030 was. But the last couple of weeks I've been hearing 2030 more and more and more. And I thought, oh yeah, I started a website, 2030countdown.com, where I was collecting stuff. So time to recollect more stuff for it. Seems there's a lot of crazy shit expected over the next 10 years.
Yeah, but I also remember the countdown to 2012.
Yeah, but this is this is different, man. They're actually working in their lockstep agenda right now.
That's true. They weren't quite so well ordered for 2012.
No, they took the last 10 years to fucking pull their shit together. And disrupt society with all the social justice warriors.
Yeah, but it only takes one person to get a hissy fit to screw it all up, throw a wrench in the gears.
Well, that's what the social justice warriors were for.
True enough.
They're the ones that threw it all in disarray so that they can actually pull off the insanity that's being pulled off now.
Yeah, but that's a little different because they're creating the insanity that helps the elite get what they want, whereas all it takes for this whole machine to come crumbling down is for one of the elite to have a bloody hissy fit.
Yeah, well, that might not happen. They're enjoying their money and power, and you'll own nothing, they'll own everything, and you'll be happy.
Yeah, I still have a theory that every time there's a giant war, it's because the power has passed from the parent to the child and the elite.
Yeah, well, it's Soros has got his son working in there right now because Soros ain't long for this planet. He's somewhere in his late 80s and 90s, early 90s, or somewhere up there in that range now. But I caught a brief clip about his son is starting to take over things. So he's got somebody in there for the power. No. They don't want wars, man. Wars cause a redistribution of wealth massively.
It does, but we seem to be heading towards one anyway. If they'd gone about things a wee bit differently, we wouldn't be heading towards a war.
Well, that's what they're trying to avoid now by all the shit that's being pulled off. They're trying to avoid the wars.
Yeah, but the shit that they're pulling is that what's causing the war.
Yeah, well, maybe. We'll see if enough people get pissed off. I don't know. I wouldn't place too many bets on it at the moment.
Which is why I theorize that when shit like this goes down, it's because the reins have been passed from the parent to the child, and the child is too impatient. They want to just rush forward with the plans that are in place, and because they rush forward, they're not thinking about the consequences of their actions, and now they're going to screw all the shit up that the parents have been working for the past 50 years.
Yeah, well, that's possible. Could happen.
That's what I think.
Could very, very well happen. That's okay. We'll see how it all pulls together. Let's see.
I just thought of a segment I should probably try to bring on.
What's that?
John Teeter.
Oh, John Teeter would be fun. That'd be time traveling. That'd just be a time traveling segment. I actually got no, that's time traveler segment. I got an article here to make fun of a time traveler.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I got the massive time traveler fail.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll make sure.
I can't wait to hear that.
We'll make sure we get that one in there. Massive time traveler fail. So yeah, Teeter would be fun to have in here. But I have to create a new segment, time travel. I mean, we've got so many segments now. I never know where we're going to go each show.
Yeah, but I mean, John Teeter isn't just time travel. He's also predictions.
Well, yeah, that's what this guy is. Time travel. Any time traveler that makes themselves known always makes predictions.
True.
And so it's time travelers, predictions. It goes together. It wouldn't be a prediction section because predictions go with prophecies and other things, such as the oracles over at the Rogues Tavern. We have the oracles over at the Rogues Tavern now. Where we got.
I have to make another. I have to make another note in oracles.
Well, then you got to put it in the notes, and I'll make sure it gets over to the oracles. Or I'm gonna have to teach you how to use it, and you can start adding them yourself.
I'll add them myself. I just keep forgetting about it until I start chatting with you on the show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I added one. The rationing of meat and eggs to be coming. I've got some articles to back up that premise now.
Huh.
So there's some really interesting things going on. We're pulling it all together. All right. Well, we're coming down to the wire. It's time to put on some Days of Thunder and get this show live. Off we go.
Sounds good.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
And there we have it. All right. Well, it's time to just launch the show right forward, and away we go. It's episode 8 of Shooting the Shit at the Rogues Tavern. Wind that one back. Start this right. Get my brain working from the right spot. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Brewery Overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely, as my brain's not fully functioning, we have episode 8 of Shooting the Shit at the Rogues Tavern. Today's topic, keeping warm and saving money. As it was in the Old West, the Saloon Tavern was the center of the community where everything got done. This show is also a value for value model, and I like to acknowledge the No Agenda Show for their inspiration of ideas and their stolen sound clips.
Squirrel!
Show, however, does have an agenda, and it is to talk about and how to protect you and yours in the coming years of trial that we are faced with. You can get all the complete show notes over at theroguestavern.com, and they include all the links of what we talk about during the show and more, because we cover a lot of stuff that I get a lot of links that we don't even cover during the show. So you might want to go down there and just go wander through the categories and click some links and see where you go. See what rabbit holes you might find that are entertaining to wander down, because there's a lot of them here. You can check us.
Some of them are very weird.
Yes, some of them are very weird. I was looking at some of the stuff you brought to the table, and it's like, yeah, okay. Let's go deal with the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki.
Anunnaki, yes.
Anunnaki Frankonsu. All right. And one other quick thing here. Don't forget to go check out the Hike Club for Men. Those of you out there that are still men or think you're men, you got to have the dangly bit, been born with the dangly bit to be a man. You can't be claiming to be a man after having a sewn on dangly bit. It's got to be a natural dangly bit. So anyway, go check it out where we're doing some things there, and I'm slowly getting it off the ground again. I've got an event scheduled for mid-March to go for a hike, so make sure you go check that out. If you're interested in sending something to us, you can send something to the Rogues Tavern at... The address is in the show notes. I'm not going to read it all out.
You are just fantastic tonight, Dad.
I am. My brain is not overly functioning. Just a couple of quick links there. Make sure you go check out the Tavern Oracles, where we're slowly gathering together any prophecies we make during the show, and we'll get them all up and about for you. Now, before we head down the show, I want to start the show off with our little bit of spirituality and a reading from the King James Version of the Bible, printed in the 1970s. And tonight we have something from the book of Job. Chapter 21. But Job answered and said, Hear diligently my speech, and let this be your consolations. Suffer me that I may speak, and after that I have spoken, mock on. As for me, it is my complaint to man, and if it were so, why should not my spirit be troubled? Mark me and be astonished, and lay your hand upon your mouth. Even when I remember, I am afraid, and trembling, take of hold on my flesh. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, and are mighty in power. Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bull gendereth. Their bull gendereth. Their bull gendereth and faileth not. Their cow calveth and casteth not her calf. Wow, sometimes it's really hard to read sometimes, but there you go. That was the random spot I just opened it to this week. I kind of like the first part.
Okay,
though.
I have to say something.
What's that?
Deal with the hand of God covering your mouth. I think that's kind of, I think the Bible's a little kinky.
Well, it is. Have you ever read the Bible?
Not for a very long time.
It is full of intrigue, backstabbing, kinky, fetishness, incest, multiple marriages. It's like the Bible is like the filthiest book on the planet. And the most interesting one because it's got really cool stories, but it's got some real depravity in there.
Man, no wonder more teenage boys have it than teenage girls.
Especially, I can't remember. I think most of the depravity is in not Job's, but is it Judges? No, I can't remember the book. Psalms. Most of the depravity is in the Book of Psalms. The Book of Psalms has a crap load of depravity in it. It's just you should go back and listen to my first few. I think I did like 9 weeks of Sunday morning service where I actually was trying to read the entire book of Genesis and comment on it, but I was reading it a chapter or two at a time. And it's like one, it's hard to read. The other is you get in there. It's like, partway through the book of Genesis, you discover that, Adam and Eve, of course, that creates man and, they create man, but that means that we're all born of incest because if Adam and Eve were the only people, that means their kids had to marry each other to, but then there's also another part in the book, I can't remember it, where I think it happens after Sodom and Gomorrah. And the one dude goes with his 2 daughters to a cave, and they get him drunk so he can get them pregnant.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, so that's the Bible, man. And
although the Bible kind of supports my whole theory about how humans are actually created.
Yeah.
And that our DNA was created rather than just from evolution.
Oh yeah, well that's other bits in it too. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there. All right, well, with our spirituality section out of the way.
Yes, spirituality.
All right, this episode here, we're going to be talking a little bit about our primary goal, which is, of course, to talk about saving money and keeping warm. And for anyone throughout North America or pretty much the Northern Hemisphere right now, they understand the need to keep warm. We've had a pretty cold week this last week.
Hey, Dad,
yeah.
I will be right back.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll talk to myself then.
All right.
All right, so they understand there's been pretty much a need to, save money and keep warm. And of course, what that means is how do you do both save money and keep warm? Well, many people, unfortunately, I happen to be one of them, have to heat my home with electricity. I don't have any other options. I've been fortunate. We have not had any electrical failures here, but you hear about places such as Texas where a large chunk of their grid completely failed and they have over 4.5 million people without power. I don't know if they still have that kind of thing. That's been happening over the last day or two. And their grid went down mainly because of green energy. The green energy grid failed to produce enough energy, and they'd already taken the power plants offline that used the fossil fuels, so they didn't have any backup for the green energy. And of course, now there's not enough power for the entire grid, and everybody's drawn on that grid massively to keep their houses warm because Texas has dropped down to massively, unseasonably low, but perfectly seasonably low for this time of year. So. Yeah, so you missed the entire diatribe there, but that's okay. I was just
what was the diatribe about? Cold weather?
Yeah, it was about cold weather and Texas being without power. Their grid failing because their green energy projects have frozen.
And completely failed.
And failed, so thereby they've lost 20% of their electricity generation, and people are drawing 120%. So there's not enough electricity to go around. So to save their entire grid collapse, they had to do rolling blackouts and rolling brownouts to limit people's power consumption.
Kind of like New York.
Yeah, kind of like New York and many other places in the States where they've tried to go green energy fully. And, unless your grid is built off of hydroelectric dams, which continue to flow in the winter, or nuclear power green energy. Nuclear power is the best green energy you can get. But, anyway, the best way of using to keep warm and save some money. Well, you can start off, like as I was saying, I myself heat my apartment. And granted, I'm in a smaller space, so it's easier to do, but you can still do this to some effect. Maybe you've been putting off doing some of that baking and cooking. I went on a baking spree for a couple of days, making cookies and making breads and making, cheese buns and pepperoni cheese buns and all kinds of stuff, and then making full big below meals and basically using my stove to heat the entire apartment up. So that's
a good way to go.
That's one of the best things you can do is, because you're going to use that electricity anyway, you may as well get the most out of it by making the food you need, and then you get benefit, you get food, you get heat and everything else. Now you got a small place like mine, it's easier because less space to heat. But if you got a big place, it's hard to heat. Well, close some bloody doors. You don't need those other rooms anyway. Let them get a little chilly when you're going to go.
Sorry, but not just close the doors. Something else that you need to do, because I'm in a bigger place than you.
Yep.
And we have doors leading to the outside in two places, one upstairs, one downstairs.
Yeah.
One of the things we've done is we've hung a blanket up that, we've hung it up downstairs where the stairs lead up.
Yeah.
If you can, hang a blanket to block off the cold if you don't have a door. And when you do have a door, put a blanket over the door and something down at the bottom of the door, because that will actually block the cold or the heat in. I do that for the girls.
Stops drafts.
I do that for the girls when we lose power.
Yeah.
And it keeps all the heat very centralized.
Yep. Well, that's what you got to do. You got to do that. And, saving money, some of the other things you can do for another save money is, one is, how to use your leftovers that you may have to the best benefit. Learn some new skills for it. I was going through my crisper where, you put all your veggies and stuff, and I forgot I bought a head of cabbage and I only needed a quarter of it to make what I needed. And I was stuck with it, and I was thinking, what do I got to do now? Sauerkraut. I've never made sauerkraut. Well, I've got all the stuff for doing my proper fermentation, so I decided to make myself some purple sauerkraut. You want to check out the images? Go check me out on Instagram. I put the images there for what I was doing. So, but find out what you've got for leftovers and use those to your benefit for your meals, such as, the other night I made, roast beef and potatoes, and we ate most roast beef already, but we had the potatoes left over, so those turned into hash browns tonight for dinner.
Cool.
So you want to think about your leftovers and your best ways to use all of your leftovers and what you want to do. Another thing you want to do, help you save money and keep better health. Got a nice little article link here for what's known as the Dirty Dozen, or the clean 15 list of foods. And what they're talking about here is foods that are less GMO'd or grown more healthy. And the clean food list for 2020 was avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, onions, papayas, asparagus, broccoli. I'm just skipping over them. Honeydew, kiwis. The Dirty Dozen list, that was strawberries, spinach, kale, apples, grapes. And these are the ones that get coated in stuff or sprayed with stuff so that they last longer to get to you.
We have a comment.
We do.
Also covering the windows with blankets helps.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Covering the windows with blankets helps too. We got a panzer in the room, man. Some panzers coming to shoot us. All right. Back it off here. We're good. Welcome to the show. My demo brat. All right. So we've already talked a little bit about that. Other things you can do. You want to look at all the ways you can go to save money, and the biggest things is buying your stuff in bulk or learning how to make stuff yourself as much as you possibly can. It's like I've I've accomplished a numerous number of new skill sets this year. Over the next couple of years, I will master them. But I've learned how to make sourdough breads and dehydrate products and store them even better, and canned goods and eat them months later and not poison myself, which meant I did it right. That's always a good thing when you take your canned goods out of the cupboard. You go, well, I got to eat it. Let's see. Yep, still smells, tastes good. Yep, eat it. Well, no, I'm not puking or dying. And next morning, yep, it didn't kill me, so I must have done it right.
You haven't killed us either, which is great considering I think we're your first guinea pigs.
Yeah. Well, I passed it around to everyone else. I didn't want to eat it myself first. I had to try it on everyone else. Everyone else is expendable, not me. No, but seriously.
Also, something else too is learning how to shop so that you have less things in the freezer and fridge and more things in your pantry for long-term storage. I started learning how to do that when my fridge died, and my landlord took 2.5 weeks to replace it.
Yeah.
It really sucked because we'd just done a huge shop, right? But because of that, I've been learning how to buy things more for the pantry, less for the fridge. Our fridge is mostly empty most of the time now.
Yeah.
And that's just because I've gotten in the habit of buying dry things, canned things. It's amazing how many things that you can get to make almost all the meals that you're used to making, but mostly in the pantry.
Yep.
And also, if you have the energy and the time, making it yourself works pretty well too.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't managed to master all the things you have, but I've managed to come across quite a few different things that I've started learning how to do to make things last longer without putting it in the fridge.
No, that's always a good thing if you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to put too much in the fridge or the freezer. But there is something I did want to make a note of, thinking of fridges and freezers, is that if you happen to be out there and you have a freezer that has enough space in it, is buy some meat. We are coming to a point where we're going to see a shortage of meat. Right now, there's a glut on the market. Mm-hmm. And here we go. I think this is it right here. Let's pop this one up here. Should be able to do that.
Inflation.
There we go.
As well as preparing for food shortages. Wow. They talked about it.
Oh, of course, we get a good bloody commercial right there, you stupid thing.
Of course.
Skip the ad. There we go.
About it in their meetings. What do you think is going to happen out here? So the level 2 lockdown has in earnest begun. And since the beginning of my channel, I was always saying that they would lock down the planet 1 year before the food shortages started because they would need to control the chaos. And that would be the very first signal that when this comes in, truly, the lockdown, you have 1 year or less. And here we are. This is level 2 lockdown. I believe this is the actual start from this point. We have less.
There we go. We have less than a year. That's coming from Adapt 2030. If you haven't checked him out, you really need to.
He is creepily on point.
I'm really sad I didn't discover him until April of last year.
About a year ago.
About a year ago. I discovered a lot of these guys about a year ago, and I wish I'd discovered their channels 8 months previous.
Well, even if you had, I don't think you would have really followed what they had to say. You had to be in the right mind frame.
No, I would have followed them. I was already in the right mind frame because what happened to me last year, okay, was I already had a very serious stock of food in my house. But I hit some, I wasn't broke or anything, but I had a slowdown in my business. The income was not coming in as great. So I decided instead of grocery shopping for a couple of months, except for the absolute essentials, choking on that.
We have another comment, by the way.
Cool.
Getting MREs help.
MREs are definitely helpful. But anyway, what happened to me last year was around November, I decided to not shop for November and December and just chew through my stock of supplies, thinking I would have lots of time to rebuild that stock back up again. What happened was I did November, December, and January just chewing through my supplies and buying hardly anything in groceries, saving myself a ton of money, allowing me to have a little bit better Christmas, et cetera, et cetera. But what happened, of course, was come February, we got hit with the freaking Wuhan flu. And with the Wuhan flu, all of a sudden the world went into freaking panic mode, and all of a sudden there were shortage of toilet paper and everything else. Now, the toilet paper I wasn't low on, but I wasn't out of food, but I was getting low on stocks, and I didn't have my significant stockpiles I had previously. And so I started looking up things. How can I do this? What I do? And of course, I've managed to build my stockpiles back up, and I'm quite comfortable again. And now I won't dare let them drop ever again, because I don't think the world's going to go back to the way it was. We'll get back some of our rights, but we're not going to get them all back. The governments never give back any power you give them unless you force them to give it back, and then they begrudgingly give you just enough to make everyone happy.
They haven't for the entirety of our written history.
Entirety of written history. The only time you get all your rights back is when you depose your government.
And you fight to the death for it.
And you literally do. You fight to the death for it. That was where the saying came, the tree of liberty from time to time must be refreshed with the blood of tyrants and patriots.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think the tree of liberty right now is withering and really need of some fresh liquid refreshment.
75 years of peace, then a very harsh war.
Yeah, well, could be. The U.S. has an 80-year cycle on major wars, so hey, according to them anyway. Flipping around to the MREs. The MREs are definitely a help, and I do have some of those on stock. I keep not a lot, but a fair number of them on stock. Also, another emergency supply food. There's these food bars you can get. They're relatively inexpensive, and one bar is 5,000 calories, and they're good storage for 25 years. And I've got a crap load of those. They're kind of like the elf bread in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but the problem with MREs is they're either out of stock or ridiculously expensive.
There's one
right
place
now,
in town.
they're going for $250 for 12 packs, 12 single pack.
Oh, that's what they've been for several years.
They weren't that much 3 years ago. 3 years ago, they were $150 for 12
Oh, no,
packs.
they were $150. I bought myself some a few months back and paid $150 for 12. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't find that price.
Try going to the local supplier here. Fast stop, first stop, something stop emergency supplies. Let's see here.
Well, the other thing too is one of the things I've been working on is making my own kind of MRE style things.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't even remember the name of it. It's a bar that's made basically out of animal fat, berries, and shredded dried meat.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I haven't succeeded yet, but I keep trying.
Yeah.
So far, they're all right, but I cannot store them.
Yeah.
Another factor about the MREs is a lot of people are taking complete advantage of everyone's scramble to get the MREs right now.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're putting the so-called MREs into shoddy packaging, which means that the foil is too thin, the air gets or it's not airtight. And there's a lot of issues with the so-called MREs spoiling within 6 months due to sunlight or air or what have you.
Oh, okay.
And
that sucks.
That's been a very common problem lately. I read an article about it. I wish I had saved it. I can't remember where I saw it.
I don't know. Anyway, you want to get MREs here in town? Total Prepare at totalprepare.ca. They're located up by that giant fucking mall at the.
We have a giant mall here?
Yeah. Where Walmart's located.
Mayfair?
No, not Mayfair.
Oh, Uptown.
Uptown. There you go. Anyway, they're located near there, and it's $159 for 12.
Oh, okay. Well, that's definitely a lot better.
And then you order them on their website. You pay for them on the website with credit card, and then you go down and pick them up. They got them in stock.
Okay.
Yeah, so MREs are definitely a good thing, and the nice thing about them is you keep one in your day pack when you go hiking. Emergency food. I keep them in my truck.
Yeah.
I keep them in my truck in case something happens when I'm out in the forest or whatever, and I didn't bring anything really with me. I keep them ready, available with my bug out bag. All those things. So.
Do you know how to check to make sure your MREs are still good?
They look like they're still good. The package is still sealed.
No, actually, you
Oh.
take a very bright flashlight and you shine it through the package.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take faith that this is one of the major producers of MREs. That these ones are. So that's I'll take.
Well,
faith.
no, that's how you check for the major brand names and stuff too, because you don't actually know how long it has been in the storage of their shop, right?
Yes, I do, because it's the box. The box it comes in is the original box from the factory, and on that box is the manufacture date.
Okay. Hey, are they Canadian or U.S. MREs?
They're U.S. MREs.
U.S. Okay.
Yeah. U.S. MREs. It's from the XMRE brand, which are pretty good.
XMRE?
That's the brand that remember when we went camping and I tossed you an MRE to eat?
Oh yeah, that was yummy.
That was one. That's what these ones are. That company.
Okay. Cool. Wait, so they actually have the original manufacture date when they were created. That's actually really useful.
It's on the box and it's on each individual package.
Well, still, if you shine a flashlight into it, you can actually see whether or not they're still good, which is something that everybody should know about. Apparently, they taught people to do that in the Army too. Panzerzo could answer that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea. In the Army, didn't they have C rations? Everything was packed in cans, back when he was in?
I don't know.
Yeah. So I see. I do know that. At one point in time, when I was from my early teens to my 20s, and my dad used to still bring home C rations from the ship as they were getting rid of stuff dating back to Korea or Vietnam War.
Oh wow!
It was really cool when I was a kid, because then they weren't that old, but they were actually sometimes they were tasty, sometimes they were horrid, but
Russian MREs spoil fast.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And they, it's interesting. You get the ones from different countries, you get a whole completely different type of food, because you get the ones for each country, because every country has its own specific cuisines that everyone likes.
So does that mean that there's a poutine cuisine in Canadian MREs?
There might be.
That'd be
you
cool.
Never know. You never know. I've never seen Canadian MREs, so I don't know what's in them.
I vote for poutine MRE. That would just be brilliant.
Yeah. All right, let's.
Not sure how they would do it.
Let's jump on into something else here. Oh, this is something that I tried to bring to last show, and I didn't have all the info properly. This is under the insanity continues to get worse. The cuckifying of the Western male in popular TV commercials, beta males. It's a horrible thing. What happened to me was it's a couple 3 weeks now, I guess. I was up at the Oasis, and there was really nothing happening. It was near time for me to get down, go to sleep, where I sleep on the couch, and my mom there was watching TV, and she was watching some regular show, and so I happened to see some numerous commercials come on, because I never see the commercials on YouTube, though I guess those commercials play on YouTube too, all the TV ones. But it was just such a horrendous thing to see, was, these cuckified soy boy males in just about every single commercial. The man was a massive subservient male to every female in every commercial. There wasn't one where the man was portrayed as anything more than a subservient cuck. And they were dressed in things like skinny jeans, which is, wow.
Did they have a high voice?
They didn't have any nuts, so they probably did. It was just holy crap. These noodle men. It was like, oh my God, it was just horrendous. So let's here's some of the article stuff I dug up for this. We got an article from Bustle, describing what a cuck means and making it out to be the best thing ever. This one here is another article from gg.com, whoever they are, and the case for being a cuck, enjoying someone such as
Really?
our prime idiot, our castral bastard.
I found I subscribe, just to interrupt here.
Yeah.
I subscribe to Britannica, and every day I get an email of tell me everything that happened, or at least a small snapshot of historical things that happened in the past. Today I got a thing where it said Fidel Castro took over Cuba today in, I can't remember the year. But the
Oh,
picture
it happened in the
Fidel,
60s. Oh, the picture of Fidel looks just like Trudeau.
identical. I held up the phone, like I enlarged in the picture so that you just saw his face, and I held up to Sean. I'm like, "Hey, who is that?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, is that Trudeau?" I was like, "Nah, that's Fidel Castro."
Yeah, no. Oh yeah, it's actually kind of funny. Kind of funny there. There's a couple of a couple of spots here to, maybe I can't remember if this is a helpful tube video. I'm learning how Western man became a beta male. There you go. It's a good thing on how the Western male became a beta man, going from these guys here to what we have today.
It is so.
So, is there like a shortened version so we don't have to listen to that terrible music? Or?
No, the music's gone. But what I'm looking at here is I don't want to play a bunch of this stuff here. And
you might get in trouble.
I might get in trouble. I've already been slammed. Unless I know for certain that I can use their videos, or they don't care as long as they get the credit. They get the links in their show notes, and I usually shout out their channel name. So it's about as much credit as I can do. But yeah, this one here is a YouTube video that where Prime Minister Trudeau is telling the men that they need to be feminists.
Okay, the original meaning of feminist, totally agree. The current meaning of feminist,
the original meaning
no
of
bloody way.
The original meaning of feminist, men had already achieved for the most part.
Oh yeah,
the
original meaning of feminist meant equality.
Yeah,
it no longer means equality.
No, now it means equity, and it means better outcome.
Give me more.
If you notice, you're starting to see less and less of the word equality, and you're starting to see the word equity everywhere.
I know. Okay, so here's a question. Mm-hmm. Can you define the difference between equality and equity?
Yeah, absolutely. Equality means an equal opportunity to freaking fail. You get no bonuses, no pump ups just because you got a vagina or because you got a penis. You get no pump ups. Each of you have a same chance at that golden ring. Each of you have the same chance of failure. Equality. You get equal opportunity to try.
Yeah.
Okay. And that doesn't mean give super benefits to girls so they can be firefighters just because they can't pick up and hold a 250-pound guy on their shoulder and walk 20 feet. Mainly because the girl only weighs, like 110 to 170 pounds. Picking up that kind of weight and carrying it, man, you need some freaking muscle.
Yeah. So what is equity then?
Okay. Equity is is what I was describing there, changing things out, making it an equal outcome for everybody. No matter how good you are or how bad you are, each of you gets the same amount. Equity.
Which means nobody left behind. Everybody gets a gold star. Exactly what they're preaching everywhere right now, which makes you want to puke.
Yes, which is what's been going on for the last almost 20 years, 15, 20 years when it started.
Yeah.
And it's been going on. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse. It's the everyone gets a trophy generation. We don't have no secrets. Let's all. We don't. There's no winners here. We don't have no losers here. Let's all hug and share a secret. I wish I had that clip.
You know what? My girls both dropped out of cross country because they would get a ribbon when they were like 153, and they looked at it and they're like, "This is worthless."
That's exactly.
So they actually both dropped out of cross country. Even though Ivy managed to make it up to the top 10, she was still pissed that she got a ribbon. She's like, I didn't make it to the top 3. This is stupid.
Yeah.
So they both dropped out because it wasn't competitive enough for them.
Yeah.
Go figure, eh?
That can happen. So, but that's that there. And then I've got one... Oh yeah, I mean one article here this is an article here for those men out there that are starting to realize they've been pussified. Go check out the article from Return of the Kings. It's a really good article on how to regain your manhood after you've been pussified. So go check those out. All right. Let's see if I've got this one right here. Make sure it's got the right thing. I know what I'm talking about as it starts playing. Get through the.
Shoppers in Victoria have wasted no time.
Oh, this is it.
Supermarket.
This is the new annual event to go with the annual celebration of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. All right, so let's listen to this.
Supermarket shelves as panic buying prompts.
Oops, go back here.
Stripping supermarket have wasted no time. Stripping supermarket shelves as panic buying prompts a reintroduction of purchase limits. There's a limit of 1 packet of toilet paper at Coles and 2 at Woolworths, as well as.
So they're stripping the shelves of toilet paper again, starting in Australia.
Oh, jeez. Guess I better go out and get some bloody toilet paper before other people go, oh my God, we're good. We can't wipe our ass.
Yeah, that's actually, that one there is only like 4 or 5 days old from Australia. And I'm pretty sure that's where it started at last time.
Mm-hmm.
Right around this time last year, too, I believe.
What is it with Australia?
They're backwards, man. They're chasing they feed it down the toilet just to watch it go backwards down the toilet. I don't know.
It is really weird to watch the water go down the drain in opposite direction. It is so weird.
Yeah. So what can I say? No, nobody knows what's Australia has been. Australia is the capital of the planet. I mean, England is a close second to them now, but Australia used to have the manliest men on the planet. Now it's got the pussified men on the planet.
Oh, so New Zealand is catching up with them?
I thought New Zealand and Australia just went neck and neck. And you know when you did that, you dropped right into your Kiwi accent or your Kiwi Zealander.
It's because I'm thinking about New Zealand. It happens.
It was really quite fun. My brain went, wait a minute, did I just hear what I heard?
Ken Zerzo says China bought all their supplies.
Yeah, well, China's buying everyone's supplies.
Yes, they're buying the backups of the backups of the backups.
Yes, that's they're buying everything out. All right. Now, I'll tell you what, let's just jump into, let's have something here that leads up to your wonderful topic on aliens for tonight. Okay, this is the one I mentioned earlier. This is the time traveler fails. This is a time traveler from 2030. He was here in 2018 and made some predictions.
Oh, I didn't hear about this one.
Yeah, well, you'll have to go check out this article. I can't remember what radio show he was on. Shows it in here. He claimed to be from 2030, and he predicted Trump was going to win, and then the next president after that was going to be Martin Luther King Jr.'s granddaughter.
Who would that be? I
can't remember her name. It's in this article. And what's funny is she won't even be 35 by the time 2030 comes around. Or 2020, 2024, 28. 2028 is the next next presidential's in 2024, and that following will be 2028. So she'd have to get elected in 2028, and she will only be 21 years old at the time. So in the United States, you can't become president unless you're 35 years old. But according to him, they're going to change the law to allow younger people to become president.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That's
They're trying to lower the voting age to
that's not a law.
16.
That's written into the Constitution.
It doesn't matter. They're changing all kinds of shit right now.
Well, that's true. Well, that's true. They're not completely following the Constitution currently anyway. So
not
it's all
at
good.
all.
So it's all good.
Hey, in the future, who's running?
And it's like whatever's wrong with that website. That the video had been on autoplay and it took that long for it to start playing, which meant it took a long time to download. Oh,
it's still thinking.
Yeah, and that's all right. I shut that one down because that website there, it's the one that pops up so many ads that if you leave it running, it makes a mess of everything on your.
Oh, that sucks.
On your browser tabs and cause the entire mess to crash down. So, all right. So at any rate, we've got. Let's take a look and run down to your aliens and other stuff. Where do you want to start? This is your show.
Actually, I'm sorry. I got to be right back again.
Oh,
I'm the only adult in the house tonight, so I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. I've got one fun one here. Let's pull something from the No Agenda show, and let's see if I've lined it up correctly for it to play. We'll find out.
They're a little bit like Switzerland in that regard.
Yeah, but clearly it's messed up over there, man.
Well, they still have this. I don't know. Maybe we should get more reports out of Norway because we are obviously.
Come on, that's
Well,
not.
if you read it, if you read his full report,
People from getting the shot.
me too.
I don't do it in any fashion. Taking just a genuinely experimental product that hasn't been fully tested, and it hasn't been fully tested. They're usually used as fur. Why don't you go in with a hazmat suit?
Have a mature mink, or I know nothing.
Shit, I can't find a spot. I'm gonna have to be more cautious with it now. You back? No, it's not back yet. Okay, well, messed that one up. So let's move along. That's what happens when you do it live, man. You just start messing things up, and you just move it along, move it along. All right, let's see here. Prices are going up. No, I've got some other interesting things here. That's not the B. I don't want the B. Oh, here's a great one. I know where we'll go. Fun stuff. Under this fun stuff. Time for a laugh. You like this. No vegans allowed in Alberta. Let's play this one up. Oh, got to get through the commercial first.
I'm actually wearing one of their hoodies today, but they've been coming frequently to the Whistle Stop out of Red Deer to support, or out of Innisfail, I guess, to support them. And they ate something called a heart attack yesterday, and it was like had couple grilled cheeses on it, and then burgers, bacon, there was chicken strips in there, onion rings, lots of cheese. The thing was like 12 or 14 inches tall, and it had a big steak through it.
Oh, come on!
And
What
that
is
was
this? Highline?
Pink Phoenix Nails, that's Catherine. Oh, that's my burger. $6.99, and says
bar
Burger?
and said, "I'll bet you $10 you can't."
and let it eat the elite.
I love
They-
that.
Tall, and it had a big steak
Okay.
through it.
For some
And-
reason, I had lined it up perfectly, and now it's not there. You back yet?
I'm back now.
Okay.
Thanks for waiting.
I was trying to get I wasn't just waiting. I was trying to bring up a video, and I thought I had lined it up perfectly. It's a really great no vegans in Alberta rant from Sheila Gunn of the Rebel News.
Well, it kind of makes sense. There's no vegans in Alberta. It's the
Yeah.
number one place where we get our meat from.
Well, it's not just that, man. As she went on the rant, it's minus 30 degrees out. They would melt away. You need the fat to survive.
That's true.
It's cold here. You need the energy, and the heat and everything else that goes with it. Yes, I had lined it up and I tested it, and then for some reason I click it tonight and it doesn't line up in the right spot. Let's load it again and see.
Seems to be that kind of day.
See what's happening here. Let's try it one more time and see if it pops it in right after the commercial. No, that's not the one I wanted. Loaded up the wrong one. Okay, let's try this again.
I'm actually wearing one of their hoodies today, but they've been coming frequently to the Whistle Stop out of Red Deer to support, or out of Innisfail, I guess, to support them. And they ate something called a heart attack yesterday, and it was like had couple grilled
See, it was supposed to be right.
You'll die. It's too
Oh,
cold.
this is it right there. There it is, right here.
Burgers, bacon, there was chicken strips in there, onion rings, lots of cheese. The thing was like 12 or 14 inches tall, and it had a big steak through it.
Oh, wow.
And that was the heart attack burger. Maybe Justin can find it. It was, if they're still alive today, well, God
Actually,
bless.
Justin wants to know if there are any vegan alternatives at the cafe.
This is Mirror, Alberta. You'll die if you're a vegan here. You'll die. It's too cold. You need the calories. You need the animal proteins. It's currently snowing again. No, you cannot survive as a vegan here. You just can't. Sorry. There's none of them because they all died a long time ago. Okay, let's keep going.
There it is. That's it. I love that.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
And when you see her in some of her shots with when she doesn't have to wear a big bulky coat because she's a nice warm spot, it's like you look
She's
at her,
a skinny thing.
she's like a thin rail.
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
judging by how she speaks about food, she eats as much as she can.
I know a couple of thin railed women like that. They're constantly eating. You look at them every time you look at them, they're putting food in their mouth. But yet their metabolism just says, "Yeah, bring it on, baby. Ain't nothing stopping this train."
Well, up in the north, most women are kind of skinny because it's like their body's burning all those bloody calories to stay warm. I know I lost 10 pounds just by moving out to Alberta.
Yeah. Well, you definitely chew through more calories in colder weather. No doubt about it. But you got to keep packing them on. All right, so let's go back down to, now that we've had some fun there, let's go back down to your aliens and other space stuff. Holy crap.
All kinds of alien stuff.
Okay, where do you want to start?
All right, I'm going to start with a really ridiculous one. It is the third one down.
Third one down.
And it's not actually an alien thing. It's a propaganda thing about why you need to get Dashlink and how you need to get 5G to keep in contact with everyone you love.
Oh, this is one. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to play the video.
No, don't play a video. Probably getting shit.
Yeah, it's from the infographic show. Yeah, I watched some of this video. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, I like this one because of how absolutely ridiculous it is. Like, they go on about these ridiculous conspiracy theories, how there's absolutely crazy and there's nothing right to them, and it, like, they actually say some of these theories, but they choose the most ridiculous ones, like how 5G will make you sterile, or how it was given to us by the reptilians, and it's like, you chose the most ridiculous ones. There's a lot of actual physical scientific proof about how 5G is not treating you very well. And the reason why this is under aliens and space stuff is because there's a lot of written documentation, especially since Trump released all the secret government documentation. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of information stating that we got a lot of our technology from aliens, right? Mm-hmm. And my theory is that 5G is simply built upon internet in general, which we got from aliens, alien technology. And this one it's completely ridiculous. It somehow they managed to wrap vaccinations into this 5G thing, and then they talk about how mercury doesn't actually affect you. Not at all.
Yeah. No, that's not the reason for the term Mad Hatter.
No, not at all. And also, you can get vaccinations without mercury. Actually, those vaccinations without mercury aren't actually without mercury. It's just that the mercury has been minuted, and the reason why it was pushed down so far is because of the bad physical responses people were having to it.
Yeah. Well. Wouldn't doubt it, but yeah, that one there is just a little bit on the nut-tarty side. So
5G was invented by the squid people of Cylon 4.
Oh yeah,
I can go with that.
Yeah.
I like that one.
The silly thing about 5G is, while it may be faster, it's nowhere near as efficient as the 3 and 4G we have now.
No, it's like getting a giant truck. Well, and that giant truck, although it has a lot more power, it can't go any faster. Matter of fact, it goes slower because of all the power that it needs.
Oh no, that's not the problem.
Utilize.
That's not just the only problem with 5G. It's like you're gonna move stuff, and you could do it in one big giant truck and drive it all in one trip. Or what you now need to do is you actually need 6 smaller trucks that equal the same size as a large truck. Because with 5G, they got to put up antennas all over the place.
That's true.
Everywhere. Mm-hmm. And 5G bandwidth, I believe, is in the micro range, which is what you use for cooking in your microwave oven. So,
which they also brought that up in this video, how microwaves cause cancer. Absolutely ridiculous.
Oh no!
Well, actually,
there's no proof of that whatsoever. What are you talking about?
No, and there's absolutely no proof about how microwaves change the chemical compound of your very food that you're eating.
Yes, no, there's no
None
proof
at
on
all.
that. None of proof at all. I mean, I have one. I barely use it to heat up water, and the rare time when I'm really hungry and I just don't feel like taking the time to heat it on the stove.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen very often. It's usually because I just can't be bothered to do what I need to do. That would take me a whole extra 5 minutes.
We don't even have a microwave anymore.
Yeah.
I got rid of it. It's like, there's no point. And then when you do use a microwave, it gets gross unless you clean it regularly, which cleaning a microwave regularly is not my specialty.
No, what I find I use a lot now is I got an air fryer.
Yeah.
And they're actually, they're a beautiful miniaturized convection oven is what they are. And they work on everything. I've tried all kinds of things, and I found a website where I follow for cooking, and he did like a 5-video series on air fryers, and he did a challenge series on what can I make in an air fryer. He baked buns in there. He made all kinds of stuff in there. He cooked everything in it. It was really quite impressive to watch. Now they don't have a very big tray, so you can't do a lot of things in it, but you can make a meal for 3 people in it. I do that regularly. Fried chicken in it.
Back to the 5G.
Yep.
I know that since they built this giant indoor soccer stadium behind our house, and when I looked it up, they have 5G. They're all new and totally up to date and fab and all that jazz. And I know that both my older daughter and I have had a lot more headaches since that thing went up.
Yeah.
And I know that our current phones drop out or have issues regularly since that thing went up.
Could be.
I'm not sure what kind of effect it's having. But
couldn't tell you. It could be anything.
But that just tells me that this whole 5G thing, really, really not cool.
Yep. Okay, what's next?
The next one is the first one I have on my list here. And it's really interesting. I mean, the guy who's talking, kind of irritating.
Oh, the Nephilim stuff. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. His voice is kind of irritating, and he does those weird things with his hands. A lot.
There you go. That's how he sounds. These are in fact quite different.
No, you gotta make it more nasally and more like.
These are in fact quite different. So at any rate,
there you go.
Yeah, him and then the phone call he's got on the line sounds like a 1970s wire from New York to California, long distance.
Yeah.
Back in the day when you really sounded tinny. It's like, dude, when was this? Oh, 2013? Yeah, okay. I guess there were a few places still with tinny coverage in 2013.
So my partner asked a good question.
Yeah.
What is it that just about every exceedingly intelligent person is the most quirkiest and irritatingly sounding people on Earth?
Because they never bothered to develop social skills because they couldn't care less about people. They'd rather be away from them with their stuff.
Okay.
That's my guess. I don't know. That's my guess. It's because, you only develop social skills and learn to talk or try to modify your voice if you're trying to be social and become part of people. But if you're not become part of them, you just don't care.
I don't think this guy ever gave a shit.
Yeah. So at any rate, it's he's going on. I did watch a chunk of this, and but he's going on about the Nephilim on here and talking about the early gods or the giants or others of that nature.
Yeah, what he actually does, like I actually sat through this entire video.
Oh my God, it's 2 hours long, man.
It was kind of painful. Yes, it is.
His voice would be painful for 2 hours.
I took it in stages, man. I had a good drink and a bunch of chocolate about the halfway mark.
Yeah, okay.
But I did it. I managed to make it through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually quite interesting. If it wasn't for his bloody voice and the weird hand things he does, it would be a very enjoyable video. Yeah. He goes on about the skulls, like you can see in that picture.
The elongated head skulls. Yes, the ones that have been being used for 100 years to say aliens have been here.
Yes, and further in the I was about to say movie. I guess it's a show. I don't really know.
There's a movie too. Raiders of the Lost Ark. What's his name? Jones, man.
I don't know.
Jones. You know, the archaeologist, Tomb Raider.
Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones, thank you. Indiana Jones, the last movie they made featured these elongated skulls, the elongated skull people as aliens.
Yeah, but the point that he makes is not that they are aliens.
Well, he's making the point that they're the early human hybrids.
No, actually, he's not.
They're the early people that I didn't catch it all, but I'm guessing that he's going after okay, it's not the early hybrids, it's the gods spoken of in the Bible.
No.
Okay.
See, what he's going on about is not the gods spoken about in the Bible, but the kings spoken about in the Bible, the ones that lived for 900 to 1,000 years. He's talking about how, okay, so you know how like the Neanderthal skulls that we see that have the prominent brow ridge?
Yep.
I didn't know this, but apparently as you continue to grow, your brow ridge continues to grow. It grows like your nose and your hair.
Well, your nose is cartilage and it grows. Your brow ridge isn't is it cartilage? Your nose is cartilage, that's why it grows. But your skull is fixed. Your skull doesn't change from the time it knits together.
No, your brow ridge. Maybe there is cartilage. I don't know.
But the ridge is your brow ridge is bone. Your brow ridge is bone. On top of it is skin and might be cartilage there, but but your brow ridge is bone. It's not going to change through your entire life. Once your skull is set, your bones don't grow anymore for your skull.
Okay. Well, the theory that he talks about here is that in the old Neanderthal skulls, that the reason why they have thicker bones and thicker brow ridges is because they live for so long. Because as you grow, as you live for years and years, unless you start, deteriorating, your bones continue to get thicker, and your bones do continue to get thicker until you start deteriorating. He touches on the theory that the race that created us came and essentially turned on a switch that makes us start to deteriorate at a certain age.
Yeah.
And he said that before we had that switch turned on in us, we would just live for 900 to 1,000 years. And because of that, our bones got thicker, our brows got bigger, and all this information, all this interesting stuff. Yeah. And that's why we have these so-called Neanderthal skulls. And now the elongated skulls, I'm sorry, you were right earlier when you said they were talking about hybrids. Yes, that is correct about what he was saying. He was saying that the elongated skulls are the mixture of the fallen angels, or Nephilim, and the humans. And the elongated skulls were the creation of the two together, and the reason why we can't find them now, not really, is because they were all killed outright. And then he points out that the Bible says that they were here before and after the flood. It's very interesting. Like I said, he has amazing research in there, and definitely creates as many questions as it answers if you believe him fully.
Yeah. I wouldn't believe him fully, especially about brow ridge is growing, because I just looked it up while you were chatting. And they don't grow. They do change shape, but it usually causes a lessening of the brow.
Huh.
Because the zygomatic bone deteriorates and falls backwards a bit. And this is as you age, and your bones deteriorate as you age, but they don't continue to grow.
Well, maybe he's from a different universe where they don't have a sac around the heart.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but looking it up, it's like, and I took anthropology or forensic anthropology, and I had to learn about bones. And once your bones are set to their length, your human bones, they can get denser and less denser. But that's just depending on what you put on them. And like, if you can actually densify your bones over the course of a few weeks, because as you start putting muscle and strain, not only do your muscles grow, but your bones get denser to support the weight.
Okay. Well, so very interesting video if you can get past the irritating voice and the weird hand thing he does.
Oh, absolutely. That's what got me. Was I was more than willing to listen to all the other stuff, but it's his voice and then the phone call, the person on the phone. It was like, oh God, man, this is horrendous. I just can't do it. I mean,
Put on subtitles and mute it. That's what I did for a while.
Oh, well, there's that. I guess could have done that. Anyway, yeah, that's a nice, interesting one. Let's grab up another one there. We'll take one more and then we'll bounce around to another subject.
All right. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down.
Next time
the fifth one down.
Next time you're gonna have to number them.
Pardon?
So next time around you're gonna have to number them.
Or you can just count them.
Yeah, well, I can count them too, but it's nowhere.
You know how to count? It's not that big a deal. Come on.
Okay, now I got a question for you. Are you wanting a specific spot in these videos just to show a few seconds, or are you just wanting me to show the video? Because if there's a specific spot in the video in the future, you might want to save the link with it's setting it up to just about the spot you want.
Yeah, this one, there wasn't really a specific spot. Like about 2 minutes in, you hear the sound, but the sound keeps happening over and over, and there's a few different versions of the sound.
Okay.
So what this is strange sounds from deep space. I wrote signs. Sorry.
Okay.
Autocorrect.
About 2 minutes in, you say?
Mm-hmm. About that.
Jump to 2 minutes. Hey, do you see that mud moving?
Mm-hmm.
Does that remind you of anything Adapt 2030's done recently?
Yes, he was talking about the mud volcanoes.
Mud volcanoes or fluid flows as our planet elongates out as it's being pulled between the new magnetic field being created out by the gas giants and the magnetic field of the sun. And this only happens about once every 2,000 years, which last time it occurred for the planet was in 79 AD.
Yeah.
And if we had an accurate history from 79 AD, you'd probably find that there were lots of mud events just like what we saw there. And that's being caused because the Earth is being pulled apart. It's like taking a squeegee ball and then squeezing down the top and bottom, pushing out the sides, starts to push out the water in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah, that was actually kind of neat. But I didn't get the strange event. But
so in this video, I'll try to remember where the interesting bits are in the future. But in this video, a bunch of people throughout the planet recorded the sound, and to me, it sounds like a mountain lion. But it's a sound that accompanies earthquakes and mudslides and sinkholes, and there's just a whole bunch of weird catastrophes that follow this sound.
Maybe it's the people who are living underground. They've dug up a little too deep, and that's the last bit of their drill bit making a noise.
Maybe. Who knows?
Could be. You never know.
Actually, there's another video that I'll have to bring next week. It's a video of a supposedly honest-to-God lizard woman
hang on
who
a
is
second.
from the center of the earth, who gave a interview for her social studies class because she wanted to learn more about the human race.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'll have to find that link again.
All right, it's still not a spot there where they're going on about other things. Tornadoes.
It's somewhere in the beginning that you hear the lion, the mountain lion sound.
Let's see.
An eye blink, and we've found 60 of these things.
From the observations we have.
That's all the space objects that are floating around that we have.
I do have a theory.
What's that?
My own theory is that, okay, you might laugh at this because I know you and Planet X, but Planet X, the planet that is supposed to come into our orbit every however many years, I theorize that it is coming into our orbit and it is producing a sound just like Saturn produces a sound. All the planets actually produce a sound. And if we listen to it with the sonic stuff, then we can hear it and record it.
Mhm.
And I theorized that if this particular planet is coming into our orbit again, heading towards us, it might actually be creating a sound due to its incoming approach.
Yeah, you never know.
The theory I have.
It's a good theory. All right, anything else on this video?
Not really. It's
Okay.
mostly just the random catastrophes all being followed by the sound. And they say that this sound is coming from a cylindrical object. It was on the screen for a moment there. And they're saying that this sound is coming from that cylindrical object, which may or may not be aliens, or it could be an asteroid. They don't really know which.
Yeah, no, they have no idea. They've never had an idea.
No, they never do.
All right, this is a little piece from the Ice Age Farmer here on The Rona's Gonna Get You. Here, let's do this.
Just buy those face masks off the shelf. I bought 10 boxes of them for myself. Didn't help me much, and now I'm totally screwed. Oh no, I got the Wuhan flu. I got myself a case of Wuhan flu. I don't know what I am supposed to do. Didn't know I had it when I gave it to you. Now we all got the Wuhan flu.
All right, so Rona's Gonna Get You. This one here is...
Only at night, though.
Yeah, only at night. Only if you're in England. Only if you're sitting down on a bench, and only if you're closer than 6 feet together. Or what's it? I mean, it's the most intelligent virus on the freaking planet and ever in existence.
And if there's more than 6 people.
Oh yeah, if there's more than 6 people, yes. Well, that
Or
that
if you're
varies
not
from place
two
to place.
Regular people to your house.
Yes. It's such an intelligent one, and every once in a while I have a really good rant about it. Usually when my boys bring something home from school to laugh at with me. All right, so anyway, he's got a nice little clip here. Is no vax, no food. UK supermarkets may require a vaccine to be able to go buy food.
Oh, jeez.
And it's somewhere in here.
Ladies and gentlemen, despite repeated promises that the UK government would never, ever doing so, Dominic, when he announced that yes, vaccine passports domestic.
Back on the vaccine passports, clearly this is something that's going to have to be agreed internationally, which the government is now making signs that it's looking at. What's, though, to stop a company in this country demanding that in order to enter a restaurant or in order to go into a pub in the future, that someone produce a document saying that they've got a vaccine, a domestic vaccine passport where you have to show a bit of paper to go into a supermarket or something like that?
Well, it's something that hasn't been ruled out and it's under consideration, but of course you've got to make it workable and you've got to...
There you go. The minister there answers back, well, it's something that hasn't been ruled out. You got to make it workable, which means it's on the table. And they're playing.
Oh, man, there's going to be such an amazing business in false certificates.
Oh, God, yeah. It'll be a massive business, man. Forgers are going to make a killing. Forgers are going to make a killing. They've already talked about it. Even the hackers are preparing up programs that can fake it.
I wish I was that talented in forgery of any kind, because I could make a bloody killing with it.
Oh yeah, make a massive killing with it. All right, I'm gonna try now. I remember. Oh shit! Now it's gone. Never mind. I had it all in my head. Now it's gone. Oh, we'll come back to it later. I'm gonna have to be. I got to be more diligent with my notes. I spend all my time getting my notes right for the other show, and this one here, I just sort of mishmash it together. Eventually, it'll.
That's what makes this one so fun.
And so eventually, this show will start to smooth out, and it'll start to be even more crazy.
No, I kind of like its haphazard way of going. It's a nice, refreshing way of going.
Yeah, can be. Here's a couple of really good pieces of news. Vaccine passports were a thing in the 70s. And had to have one when we went to Germany. Oh, well, that was international vaccine certifications. They still, in when you travel, still require, many countries required you previous to the Rona here. Previous to that, many countries required you to bring proof of your vaccinations. I've got my shot record from when I was a kid as a military brat, and we went to countries like Spain and the Philippines. I had so many shots, I may as well be a pincushion. But I had to make sure that was presented with my passport when I crossed into Spain. I remember Spain because I was old enough to remember. But I had to present the fact that I had all the shots necessary to enter Spain.
I had to have a bunch of shots when I went to New Zealand too.
Yeah. So see, it's really not changed. Nowadays, it's the same thing. You still got to show up with proof. You've had these shots. Otherwise,
But now it's locally rather than rather than internationally.
I don't remember him ever being locally in the 70s, but I was only a medium-sized brat in the 70s.
Medium-sized brat?
Well, the early 70s, I was under 10. The later 70s was 10 to 16.
Oh, I see. Okay, so medium is before teenhood, but after childhood.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like, I recall a lot of the 70s, but not as much. I recall more of the late 70s, 77 through 82. Those are the years people recall the most in their lives as they get older. Those are the years you actually start paying attention. You suddenly discover the opposite sex and that there's more than just poking at each other. Well, there's poking at each other, but in the fun ways. So
I don't know. That depends on if you're male or female. When you're female, you start noticing the opposite sex when you're about 9.
Yeah, but I'm talking about guys. We for the most part, well, it used to always be for the most, and still, I notice it still with boys. They don't really pay attention till about 12 or 13.
It's so true.
And all of a sudden they realize it. And usually it happens about the same time that their testosterone dumps, their balls drop, and their voice goes deeper. That's when it all happens at once. They get sideswiped, and then they become dick thinkers for the next 25 years.
I have to say the Mickey Mouse voice phase is really, really cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, just think you're going to get to torture your brothers with that one soon. Ian's just about to hit it.
I know. I'm going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
Poor kid. He's going to hate me for years.
Well, that's what sisters are for, to permanently damage their younger siblings. That's what siblings do. They damage each other.
Yes, I've watched my girls damage one another repeatedly.
But it helps build you up. I think that's one of the biggest problems today is that the vast majority of kids are single only children.
Yes, but according to the posters, the best thing you can do for your firstborn is to not have a second child.
Yeah, well, then you end up with a kid who doesn't know disappointment when their sibling steals something from them and consumes it.
Yeah. Although girls are a bit different from boys that way.
Oh, really?
Yes,
they do something else that helps build character, I'm sure. Girls are much more snotty.
Physical items, not food. Food seems to be something that girls inherently share willingly. The girls are always sharing everything food-wise, but man, when it comes to dolls or
that's their mothering nature. The rest of it comes from needing the possessions.
You know what's funny though? Socks. They're the biggest argument in my house right now. I guess because it's cold outside, but my goodness, there was such a row between the girls about the fuzzy socks the other day.
All right, so let me pop one more item here from the Rona. I didn't pull much from the Rona, but there's way too much out there. But this is a lovely one that came to me of all places through the Country Guide magazine, the Farm Media. And this, I had to tip this one off to the Rebel to see if they've caught this piece of news. Maybe they'll do a story on it. But it's about, of course, our new quarantine centers here in Canada. And what it mentions in here is that, of course, it mentions if you come from outside the country, you got to go to a quarantine center, which is another one that's talked about in other videos that, this is part of the Canada's Road to Tyranny. But this here, the quarantine centers, the person has to pay for it, and it's $2,000. And if you were an immigrant worker, which of course we need immigrant farm workers, come in and pick the produce because, people are too uppity to take a job picking fruit. You know, they need
Also, we don't have enough people here, I don't think.
Oh, we do have enough people unemployed right now.
Oh, okay.
There's enough right now, but oftentimes, no, we don't have enough people to do picking. So they bring them in, they fly them in, they drive them in, whatever. They bring them from Mexico, South America. But what happened for a while there, they were allowed to be picked up at the airport by the farm that is sponsoring them to take them to the place where they're going to do their 14 days of quarantine, which was fine. Seemed reasonable. The farm's paying for it. Well, now what's going to happen is they're going to have to do the same thing as these others, and they're going to have to stay in a government quarantine center. One big difference here is that the government's going to pick up the tab for them to stay in a quarantine center.
Oh.
That's the problem right there. It's like, wait a minute. One, you're already illegally incarcerating Canadian citizens and making them pay for the privilege of having that done to them. And on the other, and now you're going to bring in migrant farm workers, and you're going to foot their bill for them to stay in the quarantine center.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so and it was one small paragraph in here, and it surprised me so, and it's 7 paragraphs down. See, sometimes I have this perfect photographic memory. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, here it is. And Bidboo said the government will cover the costs of the additional tests workers will be required to take and the cost of hotel stays for the workers as well.
Yeah, where's the logic in this? Why make your own citizens pay when you're willing to foot the bill for immigrants? Where's the logic in this?
They're not even immigrants. They're just migrant farm workers. They're just here for the fruit picking season. You know.
Okay, where's the logic? I'm trying to find it, but I'm not seeing it.
This is government equity at work at its finest.
I think I'm gonna puke.
Yeah, well, you know, and this is it. You know, you're as a citizen, you're not entitled to this stuff, but as a non-citizen, well, you're entitled to it. So yeah. So it's
bloody hell.
That's one there. That's for the Canadians to get a little chewed about for whatever few Canadians happen to stumble upon this stuff. So
what's really pissing me off about this whole thing is if one of my relatives from the U.S. wanted to come visit, it would be a month-long trip, not including the actual visit to the family members.
Yeah, 2 weeks quarantine on this side, 2 weeks quarantine on the other side,
and all on their bloody dime.
Yeah. This goes hand in hand with something I pulled from. That goes hand in hand with something I pulled from Ice Age Farmer, and he was talking to, I can't remember the Canadian guy here, but one of the things that they were talking about is this is a planned event to shut. No, this came from Ice Age Farmer. I forget, one of those guys. Anyway, it came from one of those guys. And what it is a planned event because the world government and the elites know what's coming with the grand solar minimum and the lack of food and starvation and the fact that empires change every time there's a grand solar minimum, mainly because there's not enough food, population gets upset. So what they need to do is control and lock down the population ahead of the food shortage. The food shortage we haven't had yet. It's coming though, because if you follow, it's like one of the reasons I started following all the agriculture stuff here, because a lot of times they put stuff in these obscure rags that only farmers read this stuff. You know, farmers or those interested in it or have other interests. Like you can pick up from obscure areas, you can pick up the most amazing information of truth, little snippets of truth, because as I say, the truth wants to get out, so it escapes. But sometimes it can only escape in the obscure areas, and you got to be hunting for it or looking for it. At any rate, what's coming is locking down the population, preventing international travel, getting them used to controls of going into the stores and everything else, so that when the shortages come, they're already used to those controls, and it makes it easier for the government to maintain their controls. I mean, you've got the problem right now of China buying up all the world's grains. In fact, I caught something today on a video. It was, and I should have grabbed it, but it was that the grains have been, China bought more corn from the United States in the last couple of weeks than they did in the entire previous years.
Yeah.
You know, it's
like I said, they're buying the backups to the backups to the backups.
Yeah, they're buying everything because they know what's coming, and they got 1 billion people, 1.5 billion people to feed. And if they lose control, man, their people are going to go nuts.
Oh yeah.
The government there is totally screwed if they lose control of their 1 billion people.
They're already on the edge.
Mm-hmm. Well, that comes back to another wonderful thing that was mentioned, and that is, if you remember what the world was like 1 year ago, a year and a couple of weeks, put us back in January a year ago, we had riots all over the globe. You had Hong Kong. You had the yellow shirts or the yellow jackets all over Europe. You had across Canada. You had all the people protesting the pipelines, and every other protest under the sun was going on. You know, they're protesting everything, and that was continuous. And they were camping out everywhere, and the cops weren't doing anything. And you had protests in the States on many things. Protests were all over the globe. As soon as they released the coronavirus, what happened to them?
They all went away.
Within how long? How long did it take for them to vanish?
A week.
If that. And they weren't just gone from the news. People would quit protesting entirely.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the protesters going home. Yeah, within a week, all the protesters have gone home.
Yeah, and within a few days, it had all disappeared from the news entirely, and everyone went home. And it stayed that way until they released Black Lives Matter in the summer to destroy Trump. We'll go with Trump to destroy Trump's chances of winning the election. So, and that's
how long did that last? For 200 days?
Yeah, about that.
Bloody hell.
About that. And so you got a lot of these things tie together. And this is the other thing that was mentioned, was you got to think all these threads tie together into one great big picture. Problem is most people are only looking at a single or a couple of threads.
Yes. What truly astounds me is the short memory of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've transitioned from the memory of the protests to the riots to now they only remember Trump and his evil overlording. But it's Panzerzo says it's still going on. What? I thought it had ended after about 2 days. The riots. I thought that it ended after about.
No, they've still got. I caught something. If you want, they caught something today. Antifa was fucking with the Seattle police today.
Jeez, I thought it ended after about 2 days. Perhaps I just stopped hearing about it.
Yeah, well, they've pulled it out of the news. It's no longer important to the news cycle. They don't.
Not even the
Democrats.
News, apparently.
The Democrats don't want that news, and I only get little bits often from my sideline because that's not. They're chasing the big stories, and they're not even talking Trump anymore. They're chasing the other bigger stories of the other big events that the government's trying to pull off right now with the distractions. Such as the massive in U.S. the massive new gun bans and the new taxes and everything else that they're bringing in, the shutting down of the pipelines and killing fracking, and I don't know what's last count I heard Biden was already up to 45 or more executive orders. And he's barely been in there. He hasn't even been in there a month.
He's destroyed over 35 million jobs.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't care.
Within his first 3 fucking days. Excuse my language.
That's part of the agenda. The agenda needs to do that. They need to get people moved on to the dole. They got to get moved on to the government free money.
Yeah. The government free money is not free. You give up every right and every freedom to be on it.
That's the thing I caught from I think it was off of Ice Age Farmer. No, it was off of the other one. What's that dude's name? AJ or JR? He does some really insane videos.
Hey, Dad. Panzerzo says there was a BLM riot in New York and Portland.
Yes.
And he said 52, which I'm not sure what the 52 is.
Okay, 52 idiots. Yeah, I heard briefly about New York and Portland, and I still catch them from time to time. There's still a few people that are following them. Andy No still follows them. And there's a couple others that still follow them. and follow.
So it just hasn't ended then. I just haven't heard about it.
No, they calmed down briefly from the election day till until he was sworn in, and until he was sworn in. Over the course of a couple of months, they found out that they were just being used, and now they're pissed at both sides. Because
that makes sense. Now they're rioting in general.
Yeah. Oh, 52, the orders. Okay, the orders, yes. Yeah, that's the executive orders. So now he's up to 52 executive orders, and he hasn't even been in there a month. It's like it's
Bloody hell,
insane.
that's a hell of a lot. Doesn't that surpass every other president at this point?
For their first month? Absolutely. It surpasses every president for their first month. He'd already surpassed Trump when he hit like 7 or 8.
Oh, yeah, I know. Trump didn't start doing his executive orders till the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. He kind of did a few, but he really started hammering out the executive orders at the end of his term.
He should have hammered out more of them at the beginning.
Wow, 52.
Yeah, so he's got the marching orders. I mean, he brought in almost the exact same people that were in the offices back when Obama was president. So it's like it's insane. But I don't want to talk about U.S. politics. I don't live there. It has impact on us, yes, but unfortunately, it doesn't have that much impact on us. So much so.
No, but unfortunately, it's the main thing we can get information about. Getting information about Canadian politics is like getting information about North Korea.
Yes, it is. It is hard. All right, here you go. I've got a couple of things from CPAC, the Canadian.
All right.
The Canadian version of C-SPAN. And so I've got to bounce this video up to 2740. 27 right there.
We prepare ourselves not just for the immediate and the now, but for the years to come.
Thank you. The next question comes from Miriam Bethlehem, News 1130.
Hi, Dr. Henry. Thank you so much for taking my question. I've got a question about workplace gatherings, specifically to celebrate.
Workplace gathering? I can't do it. Okay, so that's all I needed from that. This was
workplace gatherings.
That's it. You've got it. I can't do the. Oh God, what's
because I'm a chick, man. I can imitate.
Yeah. All right. So at any rate, what this is our illustrious Dr. Bonnie Henry of British Columbia, the one who has laid down all the bullshit on top of us.
Wasn't black before?
No, she's never been black. I'm pretty sure.
No, her hair.
Oh, it might have been. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure her hair was black before. Now it's blonde. She looks terrible.
Well, if you look at her eyebrows, she's definitely not a blonde. Look at her eyebrows.
Yeah.
So she's definitely not a blonde. And you can see the roots. So yeah. So it might have been black before she got on TV, and then they told her, "Oh, you need to be a blonde to prettier." I don't know.
No, the blonde does not suit her.
So at any rate, the hell with all of that. The point being in here is she was taking questions from the public, which was really good. I got another question here further on, but this one here is one that annoyed me because the caller called in to whine about people having their business parties in their office building, and she's here to tattle on them. How do I tattle on them and get them in trouble?
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. And that's basically what it came down to. And I was like, really? I mean, come on.
Snitch line.
And everyone still wonders, and everyone's still wondering how Germany came into existence in the way it did in the late 30s and 40s. And how,
like I said, short memory.
Yeah, it's like this is exactly how it happened. This is exactly how the Jews ended up in concentration camps and being smoked.
Yeah.
It's like this is how it happens. It starts out simple enough. Oh, we only want these people first, but then we want those people, and then we want you.
Yeah.
They're gonna, it's like all these people. You do know they're gonna come from you. They take out the strongest first and work their way down the gene pool.
Yeah.
They need the strongest and smartest out of the way, and then they don't worry about the stupid ones. The stupid ones. That's why they call them useful idiots.
Oh,
and they're the first ones to die after the communist government comes to power. You just forgot what?
I just had a thought, Dad.
What's that?
How long do you think shows like this one are going to last before they're shut down?
on YouTube here. We've already been riding the line. And
I know we're riding the line, but we haven't crossed the line yet. But when do you think?
I expect it before the end of the year. They'll kill my YouTube channels.
Before the end of the year?
Yeah,
do you have a month? Because I'm going to put this in the oracles.
Okay, well, I know. I'd say November, December. You know, no, fuck off, you stupid. Goddamn Siri!
Someone set it off.
I just set it off by saying something. I don't even know what I was saying just there. But every once in a while, I'm just saying the right words, and all of a sudden it beeps at me. What can I do for you?
All right. So you think November, December?
November.
I'm thinking the end of summer. So September. September is when they're going to shut us all down.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to because, you know, there's too much truth telling, but that's when I've already started building up stuff over to BitChute.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll put more 3841. I'll keep putting more and more stuff into BitChute. The problem is BitChute takes forever to load and forever to render. And many of the videos I've got up on YouTube right now, I must have rendered them in the wrong format for BitChute, or they're just something that doesn't read correctly because they keep getting rejected.
Shoot them a message. They're pretty good about getting back to you.
Yeah.
The only issue with them is that if it's something they can just fix, they won't get back to you. They'll just fix the shit. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll do that next time it happens and see what happens with it. All right. Let's
When
go.
is the next election in Canada?
We don't. I think it's officially scheduled for 2 more years now. We just had an election. A year or 2 ago. So what happens is once that stays in place, as long because we voted in a minority government. Okay, and a minority government. Their mandate is for 4 years, okay, which means unless they get a no confidence vote or the premier thinks he can win a majority government and calls an election, which is what happened here in BC a couple of months ago. You know, we had an election here, but they weren't due for election until next year. And he called it early because he figured and this was before they went into the crazy lockdowns with us, when they were really being nice to us and everything was going okay and we had minor mandates and stuff.
Yeah, we voted.
And they were doing really well and it seemed like they had their brains on straight and we voted them back in and we actually gave them a majority government this time. And then what they do? Promptly locked our asses down.
Yep.
It was like, really?
Assholes.
It's like, oh, you fucktards. You guys are so screwed next election. But we're stuck with them for 4 years now.
Yeah.
You know, so and that's the problem, because other than that they have to have a major party blow up, which isn't going to happen. All right, so this one here, this is the next little piece here, and this is a piece of I couldn't believe it actually came from Global News. Asked this question
with a variant in the community right now, so we'll continue to do these point prevalence. Studies periodically to see if that's increasing.
This isn't it. This has got to get past
we'll
this
also
one
be
bit.
continuing to
For
do
next question.
targeted surveillance. But you know, the good news is that right now, with those 3,099 cases that were screened and the whole genome sequencing was done,
it was
0.1%
Yeah.
that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, so this is another thing.
Thank you. The next
sad thing about her is she actually tells the truth and doesn't realize it till it's too late. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm laughing. How can you not hear me?
Oh, I couldn't hear you laughing. But yeah, she tells the truth. And it was like, I can't remember, the No Agenda show had a beautiful clip of her telling her that there's no science behind using the masks.
Yes, I loved that clip. There is no bloody science behind it.
And it's like, so why the hell are we doing it?
I think that's why we all love Bonnie.
Yeah, well,
because she speaks and then she thinks after.
Yeah, well, here's another brilliant point. Listen to this.
Next question comes from Richard Zussman, Global News.
Dr. Henry, I'd like to ask you, if churches were able to put in the same safety protocols as bars, restaurants, and health clubs, what is it about churches or other religious gathering points that still make them more of a public health threat for the spread of the virus?
Yeah, so I think we need to look back on what we were seeing, and this is something that's not unique to this pandemic. We've seen it with other.
Yeah, that's enough of it. You'll have to go watch it yourself.
Not unique to this pandemic.
Yeah, not unique to this pandemic. And she goes on to explain the stats and actually proves herself wrong. And it's like, yeah, okay, and you're still locking down churches. I swear to God, she's an atheist who hates churches. That's the only explanation I can have, because the churches are the only thing that's being attacked too. It's the only thing.
Well, churches and small businesses.
No,
I mean,
well, no, not in BC. Our small businesses aren't shut down.
a lot of the bakeries are closed down.
Well, they could be open. They're in a
No, a lot of the bakeries have been closed down because it's considered unsafe for the bakers to actually bake things and put it out to sell.
Oh, the open bakeries. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't know they were shut down. I hadn't even.
A lot of them
I
have
never
shut
go to
down.
them.
A
I never
couple
go
have
to them.
gone
So I
out of
don't.
business.
I never go to them. So I can
Go
see them.
check out the one in Esquimalt. I bet you that one is shut down too.
Yeah, I haven't been to the Stat grocery store in like 4 weeks. I've been going to the warehouse store because I hadn't needed anything that only the grocery store sells.
Yeah, the problem that I've been finding is a lot of the small bakeries have been shut down because they're considered unsafe.
I'd believe it. I hadn't realized it. But anyway, I'm on about churches is that she shut down the churches, but most every other business is open. Virtually every other business is open, and we've never had we had one brief lockdown of our businesses. But then they opened it up, and then when they put us in the stay at home and only with your people and everything else, they still didn't shut down the businesses. That was one benefit. I think we're the only province that didn't do that.
Yeah.
Even Alberta, I couldn't believe Alberta. I'm like, really? What happened to your... They must have something on him. That was the only thing I could think, is they had something on him, because he opened everything up and was going along, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he locked it all up.
Go to the hospital, and then when he came out of hospital, he locked everything down?
No, he didn't go to the hospital and come out and locked it down. That happened in England.
Oh, okay.
That happened to the Prime Minister of England. He was doing everything. He was there. He was fighting for everybody. He went into the hospital with COVID, supposedly, and supposedly almost ended up on a respirator. He was there, and when he came out, everything was locked down. Everything. And it's just gotten worse ever since. It's like, I don't know what happened to him when he went into the hospital. It's like, you think about what Trump did when he got COVID. He fucking disappeared for a couple, 3 days and came back fighting harder than ever.
Yeah, but Trump is also a very unique individual that way. Seems like when shit pisses him off, he fights harder.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they had to bloody well get rid of him.
Well, yeah, which is why they pulled out all the steps. I mean, even the New York Times Magazine published an article explaining exactly how they fixed the erection. And those erections.
Erection instead of election. Was it like 4 or 5?
Oh, it was a lot of them there. It was quite funny. And it wasn't about that. It was the erection at Capitol Hill for the insurrection.
Yeah.
And they kept calling it the erection. Yes, it was really quite funny.
I think all those people need to get laid more.
Yeah, well, I'm going to call us a brief break so I can go refill my drink, and let's do a little time.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Come on now. along went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the chigger just seen who done the crime.
Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing
down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads. Is he yours or is he mine?
Most definitely mine.
Search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at the crossroads, Joker's doing fine. Just sitting doing time.
Oh, yeah. And also, everyone who's actually watching, all 3 people supposedly on here, click the like button. Like the video. Sometimes it might help it get into somebody else's algorithm. And they'll just go, what the hell is this crazy shit? Do I want to listen to a couple of lunatics talk for 2 hours? Oh, why not? Got nothing better to do with my life. Not like I have to go to work or anything these days. Government's just going to give me lots and lots of free money. I can sit around and listen to these old podcasters, listen to that pod, and just enjoy, learn about the world and the what the hell are those things called again? The conspiracy theories that are floating around, learn all about those conspiracies out there so I can find out what them conspiracy people are doing so I know how to avoid them.
I love how you get your Southern accent flowing right there. It's great.
Yeah, well, sometimes I get the right thing. I get the right words going, and I can just draw it right down.
It's really entertaining.
What's that?
Every time that Sean gets passionate about things, he gets his Southern accent flowing through. It's really entertaining to listen to.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Oh, here's another one I forgot. This one here. Oops. I'll load that up there. This is an article from the Shuttles Ministries. Very great guy. I should tell him about this show. He does a what the hell do they call it?
I didn't get that.
Fuck off. I didn't ask you what the hell they call it.
Well, apparently you did.
I actually caught the words that came out that time. I can't. He's a pre-tribulation minister, talking about the pre-tribulation and why the Revelations is completely misread and misunderstood. It's very interesting. I've been following this stuff for a while. Would be. But this is a nice quick article about the 6th seal earthquake and the 7th bowl earthquake that are talked about in the Bible. So earthquakes and other things, which we're seeing a hell of a lot more right now. But for some reason, they're not in the news all that much.
No, there was this awesome channel. I think I introduced you something weird about 2020. Mm-hmm. And she was fantastic. She would have all these different clips from all these different things happening from people's personal selves, as well as big news and all these weird things that were going on around the planet. And then she ended up stop making videos, and it sucks because she was one of my main sources for information. I mean, admittedly, she took all of her labels of her videos and she turned them upside down and backwards so that she couldn't be deleted. But I think that's why she stopped making videos, is because she didn't want to be deleted.
Is the channel still there?
Channel's still there. Her videos are still there, but she hasn't made anything new since last year.
I don't remember who she was. I sort of recall that one. If you can find that one again, I probably subscribed to it, but now I'm subscribed to so many channels, I have no idea. It takes forever to read through them now to find the specific ones. I'm being more judicious on BitChute. I'm only subscribing to the stuff I want on BitChute. So
understandable.
I mean, pretty much all the people that have been turfed from YouTube are all on BitChute right now. And if they're not on BitChute, they're on Brighteon, or they're on one of the others. The alt tech platforms are growing quite nicely, and many of these people, the ones that are massively controversial, they realize that any number of these other places could be compromised. There was another one similar to Brighteon. I can't remember what it was. And they were rising pretty fast, and you had a lot of the people being booted from YouTube going in there, and they claimed to be a free speech zone. Then one day they up and started canceling people. Just turfing their accounts and call them out, and they went, okay, so everyone abandoned them. And that, I can't even remember who that company was now. They died because they were still in their infancy. It's like YouTube never would have got to its prominence it is now if it wasn't for all these people they've been cutting off for the last 3 years. Those
is unfortunately
those
true.
are the people that brought in the mass amounts of YouTube traffic. And as those people left and their visitors left, and their traffic's been dropping. It's not super significant, but it's been dropping. And as BitChute starts to produce more or get their stuff better and better, now that they're fully funded, they're even beyond funded now, so they'll sink more money into their infrastructure and into their software, and eventually they'll catch up and they'll be providing everything that YouTube provides. There's supposed to be the Bitstream coming soon. Because that's their streaming service. For BitChute. Soon as BitChute streaming service starts, about 10 of the people I follow and catch their live streams will say, we're gone. As soon as Bitstream has a stable streaming service that's not going to boot us for what we want to talk about, we're gone, and we won't bother. It's like me. I'll move right to it, because then I won't have to censor myself, period, to keep it on. And that's one of the problems with YouTube. You have to pay attention to your words sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's always it. Oh, we lost one. Oh, well, hope he has a good sleep. I didn't catch that.
Well, he said good night.
Yeah,
so
I saw that. That's alrighty. Still having for an hour. That's not bad. We'll see.
That's
what
awesome,
actually pretty close to 2 hours. He joined us shortly after we started, and we're coming up on 11 now. We've almost been at this 2 hours.
Oh wow, I didn't realize the time.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when we get a good flow and we don't have to force it. It goes great. Unlike last episode where it was one of those times where nothing would flow.
Yeah, it happens.
Brain just said, "Yeah, go screw yourself." I refuse to work. Here's an interesting
Blast Messages. That's the name of the channel.
Blast Messages.
Last
Messages.
Yeah.
Last messages. Okay, let me see if I can.
Yeah, and the titles are upside down and backwards. And her titles are 2016 is Strange, and she has like 10 parts to it.
I am subscribed to her. Okay.
Yeah. And she stopped making videos. She hasn't made a new video in ages.
That's some. I want to know how she typed all that stuff backwards and upside down.
Probably some kind of specialized font. I don't know.
Okay, well, YouTube must have the specialized font.
Who knows? But it's awesome that she did it.
She got one in here. Coronavirus: The Truth.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It's from March 10th of 2020. Oh, it's her. No.
In my career, and that includes Ebola. It includes MERS. It includes.
Yeah. All right, let me go into her channel here and take a look at her channel. Oh, There it is. No, that's not it. There's her channel. Okay. That was weird.
What was weird? What happened?
I don't know. YouTube bounced around. I'm searching it on another page here. So here, let me bring it up over here. So we've got, she does have videos. The last one she did was 9 months ago.
I didn't realize she made one as recently as that.
It's just got a star on it. Had to make his video as a mea culpa regarding the way I covered the coronavirus crisis. Okay.
So I guess she put in...
Hold on. It's only a minute and a half long, so let's see. My mea culpa is about the dangerousness of the virus. I did overestimate it. The virus is a pretext that will make it disappear most of our individual freedoms and bring about a persecution never seen before. She did this in April. Do not try to save the flesh at all costs. Only the destination of the soul ultimately matters. Only Jesus is able to save souls. Repent, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, she is very religious.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing.
It was beautiful.
Oh, okay. So her mea culpa is that she overestimated how dangerous the virus was, which is what many people did. Even myself overestimated at the beginning. And then that her next thing is that I didn't realize it was a pretext that will make disappear most of our individual freedoms and bring about persecution never seen before against truth seekers and believers. And that was back in April 28, 2020. That was back in April.
Yeah.
That was almost a year ago. So she saw it at the very beginning of when they started this. She saw it then. That's too bad she hasn't done any more videos.
She is an amazing person in that way. Like, that's why I followed her videos so closely, and having her just drop off the face of the earth is depressing for me because
she did a lot. She did a lot of them that are labeled coronavirus the truth.
Yep.
She did 18 parts.
I know.
All the way. So she did it all the way through from her mea culpa all the way up to this.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
She is an amazing journalist, honestly. I hope that she manages to find some kind of career in it. I don't know if she will. She seems pretty happy where she is, but wow, she is fantastic.
Yeah, she did 2019 is strange. And 2011 got sucked up with her first part of 2011 got sucked up with her dealing with the Rona, and
yeah,
and that was it. Well, maybe something changed in her life.
Something that this kind of touches on, sort of, is the science. The science being the new religion. We touched on this a wee bit last week.
Yeah, it's not the science. It's just science, because it's not
Yes,
the God.
it is.
It's not the God. It's God. Okay, and it's no longer the science. It's science, and it's settled.
Something that I've noticed over through No Agenda and M5M is simply follow the science. Listen to science.
That's right.
And only science tells the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there. I decided to go and search up historical documents, and I was searching up old newspaper things. And old newspaper things, if you look under science, there was a scientific journal in the New York Times for a bit. And they would talk about how only God can decide life or death. Only God can do this. Only God can do that. And there's actually statements of only science can tell you about life and death. Only science can do this for you. Only science can do that for you. And that's actually a thing now, and it's amazing. Listening to old recordings of preachers talking about God, and listening to the current recordings about science, there's no difference except for the fact that the word God has been replaced with science.
Yep.
It's really quite interesting.
Yep. Yeah, we touched on that. That's they gotta kill the old gods to bring in the new gods.
Yeah, but like when you mentioned it last week, yes, awesome. But I started paying more attention, and wow, the similarities are just astounding to me.
Yeah, and the M5M are going to be the new preacher class.
Yes, they absolutely are, and
Yes, they're the ones that have the message. They're the ones that communicate directly with science. You know, they get the science from the science prophets. You know, who bring it to them, who then bring you the word. You know, much like you look at the hierarchy of the Catholic Church. You've got the dude at the top, the Pope. Then you've got the sub-popes or the cardinals who then talk to the bishops and preachers who spread the word.
And I can't help but wonder how long before those of us that don't believe in science, or at least the science as preached, how long before we start getting burned at the stake?
I don't know, but you know what just occurred to me? Is, okay, they're changing to the new God science. The Catholic Church is freaking the shit out because they're going to lose their massive monopoly. Okay, but what's been happening to the Catholic Church ever since this latest Pope got in? He's starting to accept science. They actually, I heard something, I don't know if it was Catholic Church or somebody else, but they had a religion that didn't allow female preachers, now has one. But you know, they're suddenly okay with abortion. The Catholic Church, you know, they're suddenly okay with
They're
gay.
okay with abortion?
Yeah, I believe so. No, maybe I'm wrong that one. Okay, that one I'm probably wrong. I'm sure somebody will slap me down in the comments. But no, you've got I do know that they're starting to allow. They allowed not abortion, but they allowed gay people. Gay people are acceptable. Gay marriage is acceptable in the Catholic Church.
You know, there's an old prophecy about the Black Pope.
That's what that's what this Pope is considered, is the Black Pope.
Yes, and the Black Pope doesn't necessarily mean that he is the color black.
Oh,
it just
no.
means he has a black history.
Yes.
This Pope has a black history.
Yes, and he does. This Pope does.
Yeah.
This Pope is a Jesuit.
Yeah, so
probably,
this is a Black Pope that is supposed to bring about the end of the religion, and this particular Pope has been
doing
in
just that
prophecy for a very long time.
But he's been doing just that. But think about it.
Really
think about it in the fact of science taking over. The Catholic Church is moving itself more towards science and aligning it with the powers right now, so that they can keep their monopoly.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay. Alrighty, let's go. How the hell did that suddenly
glitch?
That is too weird. Alrighty.
Coincidence? I think not.
Excuse me. All right.
Good night, left nut.
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge. Your government thanks you for your participation.
Da-da-da-dun. Still not back. All right. Where do we go from here?
No service for you!
What was that?
No service for you!
I just heard you when I put the headphones back on, so I was like, what?
No service for y'all. All righty. Well, we're winding up. We haven't covered everything on here. We've covered quite a bit. Oh, there's one other item I want to do. This is something you should look up, folks, if you want to see what's really happening out there. This is a crop loss across the world. That the Ice Age...
Across the world?
I think it's the world. Yeah, it's the world. Crop losses from the entire world, from the world. This is from the Ice Age farmer. Okay, this is a map that he keeps adding to as he collects more information about crop losses in the world. Okay, now you can start out first by looking at what we've got in Canada, but as we go down, oops, we got to zoom in here. and then zoom over. Zoomed in too far. We want not India, but we want China. There's their major crop losses.
Didn't they lose mostly everything due to the floods?
Yeah. Up through here, I can't remember if it was Yunnan. Oh, there's China right here. Sorry, I got the wrong thing. China right here. You've got this one, Guangdong, Mongolia, high temps. Production down by 70. Maybe he doesn't have them all in here. 30% of Dungan lychees. Okay, he doesn't have them all. Lychees. 45 acres in Guangdong, 4,500 hectares. That's a lot of land, 4,500 hectares.
Yes, it is.
A hectare is like 78 acres. I think it's like that. It's like that. Yeah, a hectare is around 78 acres, if I remember correctly. 30,000.
And for people who don't know, 1 acre is like a football field.
Bigger than that. Oh no, yeah, 1 acre. 1 acre is because no, I have to look it up. It's pretty decent sized. Anyway,
it's not much smaller. Like it's not much bigger than a football field. So for people who have no idea, saying about a football size, a little bit bigger, is a pretty good way to translate it.
Yeah, there it is. So there's quite a few there. This is a nice, interesting map to check out. I'm not sure how often he updates it, but it's from the Ice Age Farmer, and he's got a lot of really good stuff. If you're looking for information to help you prepare and know what's coming, Ice Age Farmer is a great place to start. He's one of the first people that I was flipped to, aside from Tony Heller. I got to bring in some more Tony Heller stuff. Haven't had him here in a while. I guess he really doesn't have to debunk global warming right now, though. Okay, let's see. What do we got? Any other last little tidbits I've got that I didn't really touch on? Oh, we've got an attack on natural gas. Nah, screw that. Questions for Parliament. Oh, these are always entertaining and fun to watch. Is question hour, question time in Parliament. Let's go to 11:54. 11:54, right there.
And territories to control and prevent infections in these facilities.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Madam Speaker, yesterday the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Procurement said that the Liberals chose, quote, the second best vaccine procurement strategy for Canadians. I'd argue that's a bit of an understatement given that we're 2 million doses short this week. People are dying. We need a path forward. I want the best for Canadians. I want a path to recovery. Why did the Liberals knowingly settle for second best when Canadians deserve far better?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, of course, Canada has done exemplary work in this pandemic, including getting billions of pieces of PPE to provinces and territories, including collaborating on rapid testing with provinces, including procuring from 7 vaccine manufacturers enough doses to vaccinate every Canadian many times over. Just in the vaccines that we have already approved, we have enough doses to vaccinate every Canadian who wishes to have one by the end of September. And 6 million, including those arriving this week in the first quarter of the year.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Well, just to correct my colleague, 0 doses arrived this week. And Canadians shouldn't have to settle for second best. I mean, a year into the pandemic, tools like vaccines, rapid tests, therapeutics are being delivered around the world. And today, international outlets are reporting that 75% of a population receiving 2 doses of a vaccine would be a benchmark for a country achieving herd immunity. When will the government tell Canadians how many need to be vaccinated before unprecedented restrictions the federal Liberals have imposed will be lifted?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
I like her.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, and we have taken action for Canadians throughout this crisis. Again, we've said this in the House many times. We've secured the highest number.
All right, that's all of that one. That's all I needed was that one. And I can't handle the non-answers, man. It's like, oh God, I'd lose my shit if I was there. And of course,
I like that lady. Who is that?
I can't remember her name right now, but she's a conservative MP from Edmonton or Calgary. I can't remember.
An actual conservative.
She's an actual conservative. What's interesting is I can't remember who did this, but they compared the conservative women in politics or wherever, it didn't really matter, against the liberal women and rated them on their appearances. You know what?
And let me guess, conservative are way more sexy?
9.8 times out of 10. They're not just more sexy. They seem to take better care of their bodies. They seem to age much better. They don't seem to smack the wall as badly. It's a whole bunch of interesting comparisons between them. I've been noticing that. I've been paying attention to them. They tend to be on the thinner side, mainly because they take care of themselves. They pay attention to their diets and everything else. You know, and even
because they're not so caught up in making themselves look like a good person that they're actually giving a shit about their bodies.
Yeah, and they actually take care of it. And it is just an interesting phenomenon on it. The difference between them. But yeah, she's great. I picked her up recently. She's actually done an interview on Rebel News is how she came to my attention. Something on Rebel News. Either an interview or they played something from her on Rebel News.
Nice.
And that's how she came to my
attention. She seems pretty cool.
But yeah, and the conservatives are, the ones that are trying what little bit of conservative party there is, but every time a conservative sticks their head up right now, they get it chopped off by the party leader. That was the most woman. Yeah, that was like he was doing something. Well, now it's okay. You made him an independent. Now, man, you're going to be screwed. He has the capability to create a alternative to the conservative party of true conservatives.
Yeah.
A patriot party or something like that. I don't know what they want to call it, what they'd call it, but he has because he was shooting for the leadership of the conservatives. He was heading for that. Probably next time there was a leadership meeting, he's probably heading for that. So, which would have made him prime minister. Could do it a prime minister that actually cares.
Sure. That'd be nice.
Problem is, it seems that the politicians, they start out to actually care. Something occurs shortly after they're in there where they're no longer caring. Either they had good intentions or they had some skeleton in their closet that they forgot about and they don't want to escape, and it's been discovered.
I have to admit, I did vote for Trudeau. And you know what swayed me over to his side? His argument for Highway of Tears. Well, you know what a Highway of Tears is, right?
Yeah, there's only one Highway of Tears. It's the Trail of Tears, and the Highway of Tears. That's the First Nations women that have been disappearing up there.
Yes,
up there they've been randomly disappeared. I'd weigh odds of 90-1 that they're being stolen and stuffed into the sex trafficking trade.
Absolutely, but what swayed me to vote for him was his apparent passion for dealing with the Highway to Tears.
Yeah,
quite a simple matter.
Which he did absolutely nothing about.
He started, and then he stopped. See, his argument was absolutely brilliant. It was a very simple matter. Put highway cams and have a patrolman go up and down every 6 hours.
Yeah.
Between the highway cams and the patrolman every 6 hours, it would cut down the issues. Absolutely. Totally. Yeah. All it takes to dissuade people 9 times out of 10 is a warm body. Yeah. You don't need much more. Yeah. I was security, and I was like 100 pounds soaking wet at the time. Yeah. So just having a warm body and their presence works.
Yeah.
He was arguing about that, and he was saying, I will absolutely do this. I'll get the cams. I'll get this and get that. And 6 months into it, he had started. He got highway cams at one end and the other end, but he never got in between.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
I never heard anything else about it. And when I looked into it, he never got police to start patrolling it every 6 hours. But that was the argument that caught me. And I can't help but wonder what argument caught so many of the Canadians that we all ended up voting for. All of us who voted
the
for him.
reason the people who voted for him was because of he was an alternative. We'd just come out from under a Harper government, a conservative government, which managed to fuck things up because they always do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter.
Every government
does. But they also got into not slander, but scandals. So all of that happened. So that the Canadians went, okay, we've had enough of you. It's time to put the Liberals back in and see if they can do a better job. And, there was a massive argument against it and that's why I didn't vote for him was one, is I'm looking at him and it's not that he didn't have experience. It looked at what he had experience in. He was a ski instructor. He was a fucking failed drama teacher. That was all you heard about back in the beginning anyway. Now you hear about his blackface and his other stuff and his lack of caring and then of course
his love of China and how he wants
his love of China.
Make Canada just like China.
And all of that stuff. But that's and then of course he's fully accepted his role as a bastard son and has grown in a beard to give it that ultimate look.
Yeah.
So, and that's the problem we've got. But yeah. So where were we before we went down that rabbit hole?
I don't know, but I do have another rabbit hole that I wanted to jump down if we have time.
Okay. What is it? This will be the last rabbit hole.
The other rabbit hole was no more sex-specific sports in the future due to transgenders being allowed to participate in gender-specific sports, such as transgenders who were once male and who are now female, participating in female sports and completely dominating the damn sport because men are built differently from women.
We're built for sports. We've got bigger lungs. We've got larger bones. We have a larger heart. We have better upper body strength. We have our legs are not as strong, but they're faster. We have faster fast twitch muscles than women do.
I just want to say I understand why people who identify as female want to enjoy the female sports. But at the same time, I think it's complete and utter bullshit that they get to enjoy the female sports. I think there should be a completely separate section of transgender sports.
There should be.
And that's my opinion. Because
that's a good opinion.
Transgender from male to female and transgender from female to male. Because any transgender from female to male is never going to even make it to the top 1,000 in male sports. And the transgender from male to female, they're all gonna fucking kick ass and kill whatever female sport they go into.
They've already done it. In the last year, girls lost their college scholarships in races to a transgender who not just ran faster with them, made them look like they were freaking standing still.
Yeah.
And of course this dude, I don't even call it a dude, used to participate in the male sports and was in the bottom 90%.
Yeah.
And went, I become a woman. I can win. The same guy that did the MMA switch over to the female version of it and kicked the shit out of some woman. Broke her jaw and other stuff. It's like, then there's the male wrestler, or the gender swap wrestlers there that destroy the female ones. These are the ones I know about that they've infiltrated that transgender infiltrated women's sports, and then Trump blocked that.
There's a reason why we had male and female. It's because males are built 100% differently.
And just because you chunk something off and drill a hole doesn't mean
that's a good way to put
you
it.
Get rid of the bone density, the larger lungs, the bigger heart, the faster muscle twitching. that doesn't go away. The testosterone slowly deteriorates, but even a lower testosterone dude can kick the ass of a regular female.
Oh yeah.
Or even
definitely.
the ones in the premium. It doesn't take much. Even me with my slowness of racing, when I look at my times and where I fall in the pack, I still fall further ahead than 40% of the women that run.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a slow ass motherfucker. I'm always in the bottom 80% of the men. So it's like, there's your comparison. There's your perfect life example of it. Yeah, it is insane. The transgender debate was done, but of course, Biden reversed it mainly because it was a Trump policy. I mean, he reversed every single Trump policy that Trump had done. He did that in his first 3 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just insane, and and even in Canada they're starting to do the same. It's like, how do you destroy society? And of course, the last stage of every major civilization is decadence. And we've been in the last stage for the last 15, 20 years. We're just in the final stages of decadence now.
Yeah, it's one of those things that irks me. And honestly, I don't think there's going to be any more sex-specific sports by 2022.
Yeah, well, then the women will always lose.
No, I think there's going to be no more sports-specific sports.
Oh, no more sports?
Or sex-specific sports. I
yeah,
think
but that means that
would be sports.
Well, that would mean everyone has to play together, or they create male and female teams again, which means they're still sex-specific.
I think it's going to be one male, one female. And I think they're going to have to work as a team, and only teamwork will get them through. And
yeah, well,
I think that's what's going to happen, because that's the only way they can really combat this. Like, get one transgender and one's female, and one female, or like one male, one female. Like, just mix them up so that there's one strong and one weak. Because admittedly, it sucks to admit it, but as a female, no matter how much you work out, no matter how much you work towards it, you're weak.
Yes.
You're built that way through your genetics, and it sucks ass. I mean, if you can use your legs for everything, you're fucking stronger than King Kong. But only women's legs are super freaking strong.
Yes, they're very strong.
And
we're not
built for speed.
No.
We're built for strength to carry the child.
Carry the child, the water buckets, the
speed,
food. Men are built for speed so they can run down animals.
Exactly. That's why
men and they have upper body strength.
Men can beat women, no problem.
And they have upper body strength, so when they do run down that animal, they can pick the motherfucker back up and carry him back.
Exactly.
Because you don't eat them out in the field. You need to get them back to the fire so you can cook them. So yeah, men are built that way, and women are built the way they are. There's a reason nature put us like this. But of course, the last 20 years of feminist 3.0, and we're now moving into feminism 4.0.
What the hell is feminism 4.0? Explain this to me.
Fourth wave.
What was 3.0?
Third wave feminism. Third wave.
What's the difference?
Okay, first wave feminism was what occurred in the late 1800s to the early 1900s, when women got the right to vote. That was first wave feminism. They wanted some equality. Okay, they got some. Well, they got equality with privileges, because what was funny was women got the right to vote in the United States. And I'm going to use the United States because I don't know when Canada did it. But the United States, they got the right to vote in 1919 or 1918, somewhere around there. 1918, 1920, somewhere around there. Okay. Men had only gotten the right to vote in the late 1890s. That's your average man, everyday man.
Yeah.
And they only got the right to vote when they would agree to be conscripted into the military, be drafted in the military.
Yeah.
That was when men got the right to vote. So they had to agree to be drafted. Women got the right to vote. They didn't have to agree to be drafted. So they got...
Actually, they kind of did. I looked into that, and they kind of did. They had to agree to be nurses for the military.
That's a completely different draft than the front line.
No, they had to agree to be nurses, whether it was on the front line or at home.
Yeah,
so
they don't put...
it was a mix and match. So it kind of was the same, because you have to admit, the doctors and the nurses got shot just as often as the military boys.
Nowhere near.
They had to go onto the field to drag the people off.
Oh no, they had medics for that.
Yeah, but the medics were male and female.
Yeah.
I looked into it.
Oh, okay.
I read about it, and
Okay.
it was male and female.
Okay, well, I never heard about that before. Okay, well, then there goes my whole analogy. You've blown it out of the water. And it's
I have. I decided to research it to see if I could blow it out of the water.
Okay, well, you blew that one out of the water. Okay, but it still doesn't eliminate the fact that they've gotten privileges that men have not gotten. And now I've got to go find another one to just smack you back down. Anyway, that was first wave feminism. Second wave feminism hit in the 1960s with bra burning and free love. That was second wave feminism. And that was when the divorce problem started in the States. And that didn't start until the 70s. So second wave feminism brought us all the divorce laws, the no fault divorce and the man loses everything divorces, which is the vast majority of them. Okay. And the second wave feminism brought that. Third wave feminism has brought us all this transgender stuff and acceptance and equality and equity and everything else. Third wave. Fourth wave feminism is stepping up that game. And fourth wave feminism has just been noticed in the last year or so, the last year or two. So that's where the term feminism 4.0.
Okay, now we're in 5.0, you say?
No, 4. We're in 4.
Oh, I thought you said we were in 5.0.
No, I said 4. We came from 3. Now we're in 4.
Okay. I have a comment. We can't even get along together at a public space as male and female without having issues with feminazi male egos. How the hell do you expect it to work in sports?
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. Well, it's funny. It's like it was like the argument last year, I think it was, when the women's soccer league was whining and bitching because they weren't getting paid as much as the men's soccer league.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't take into effect that, okay, the men's soccer league brings in $6 billion a year. Your soccer league brings in $100 million. You know, if that's some ridiculously low amount in comparison to the men's, those aren't exact numbers. Those are just the exact, that was the spread, was that large. It's like, okay, so you want to be paid the same amount as the men. And no. And they're like, well, we do just as much. It's like, you might work just as hard on the field, but you can't pull an audience worth shit. We pay for talent. We don't pay for, you know, well, we could put stripper poles in the middle of the field. That'll bring in the crowd.
Oh, come on. They don't pay for talent. They pay for crowds. And I'm actually surprised that the female soccer team doesn't bring in as much as the male. I mean, their tits jiggle a lot when they run.
Yes, but most of the people that watch soccer watch it because they like the second boringest sport in the world. You know, the first most boring sport being golf. I mean, it's like I've played soccer and I haven't figured out
golf yet at all.
Well,
What's the point?
Golf its nickname is whack fuck.
Yeah, well, my partner likes golf, and I don't understand why.
You whack the golf. Well, if you play, it's not so bad. You're basically out there with some friends, having a beer out there on the golf course, walking, getting some exercise. Generally, you do it on a sunny day, so you get some sun at the same time. And it's basically a walk while taking a stick and smacking a ball and trying to get it towards a hole. Is basically all it is, unless you become serious about it for some strange reason, which I never really could understand getting super serious about it. You know, I got semi-serious once. I even had golf clubs. I played for a couple of 3 years, I think. You know, and it was fun. It was a good entertainment, but then it got really expensive. You know, it cost $70 just for a single round of golf. It's like, seriously? What are you guys on, drugs? I'm just walking across your green fields. So...
I remember reading a fantastic story. It was one of those stories of it was one of those awards for removing yourself from the gene pool.
Mm-hmm.
Darwin Awards.
Darwin Awards, man. I haven't looked at the Darwin Awards in a while. We should bring some up here.
Years ago, these 4 fellas were out playing golf, and one of them decided to throw his balls into the ball washer.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Luckily, he didn't bleed out to death.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one made me laugh.
But yeah, it's just every time I think of golf, I think of that Darwin Award.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we got for Darwin Award. Salutes improvement. Human honoring those who voluntarily removed themselves from it. Okay, let's see. Dead on Valentine's.
Are they still going?
Oh yeah, they're never stopped. They built a website, man.
Excellent.
DarwinAwards.com. They got the Darwin Awards going
Excellent.
back. They've got Darwin Awards going back for years.
Oh yeah, I know they've been around for years.
Yeah. That's 2018. Okay, so they've got 2020. Let's see what we got for 2020. The pinnacle of stupidity goes to hands-on says pinnacle of stupidity. I'm gonna turn back and resume key. He belatedly noticed I'm trying to walk by the rocks that Steve would do. His audience here to reassert Santa crampons gripping the ice as he continues to pass. It was 30 degrees. Host of Summit Amateur at last utter is Santa climbing. Wait, I'm slipping. Okay. I'm slipping. Experience mountain climbers say if you start slipping, you have one chance at self-arrest before it's too late. Even now, drop his phone and jab his climbing poles into the ground, but no, in an instant it becomes apparent that a smartphone is more intelligent one. Still live streaming away, he begins an uncontrolled slide down a rocky slope. Viewers are treated to a spectacle of feet flailing and poles tumbling free. A few seconds later, the phone footage abruptly stops. The final chilling image shows a climber's pole frozen in mid-flight as he went over the edge of a cliff. He was found at an altitude of 9,800 feet, 1,000 meters from where he began his fall. So basically, he had a chance to stop himself from going over the edge, but it was more important for him to live stream to his viewers while holding his phone. It's like the people that walk through into open manholes or off the edge of a road or off the edge of a cliff while holding their phone.
The next one down is a Slack robotic effort. And essentially, the fella decided to do a handstand on a railing next to a sinkhole. And he decided it was more important to do the handstand than it was to be careful.
So they found him in the bottom of the sinkhole?
Yep.
All right. Yes.
Yep. The speed of an object in free fall doubles for each second if it falls towards the earth.
Mm-hmm.
We editors of the Darwin Awards regretfully hand Bradley his Darwin Award while wishing we could have talked sense in him before he did the deed.
Yeah. So Darwin Awards, they're one of my faves. I always like them. All right, well, let's call this night. It's 11:25.
All right. I guess we can call it night.
I'm getting tired. I got things I got to do in the morning. All right, so...
morning always comes whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, let's play a little music out of here.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, well, that's all we got for you, folks. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Take care.
So we had a third person pop back.